Good afternoon, all. If people could do me a favor, just drop a line in the chat and let me know that you can hear me, because I haven't streamed in literally a year and a half. So I'm back today with two special people, and no, I'm not dead, because I know there had been rumors, and some people may have wished that as well. But no, I'm not dead. I'm back, kind of. And I got buffering here.
Oh, dear.
No, okay, I think we're good. We still have more. Yeah, it's... Oh, I was almost in a tornado earlier, so yeah, it's raining where everyone lives. But I am back. Some people are mad because, yeah, I have, for the most part, retired the yelling persona because I'd gotten sick of it. So I'm going back to... my older style, which you saw in the video I put out a month ago. And for some reason, I have a sore throat today. I have no idea why. So yeah, my voice is a little off, and it will probably be off by the end of this. But anyways, we're here to discuss a couple things, and we've got 52 people watching, which I'm amazed at because I've been gone for so long. I would have been happy if I got 10. But anyways, we are here today to discuss one thing very briefly. And then the other thing, which was the original focus of this live stream. We're going to go for about 2 hours, give or take, but we're going to aim for 2. But before we proceed, I am going to introduce my 2 guests. And everybody should know who they are. They've both been on my channel before. They are very good friends. We may be bringing in other people as well. So to start, now this is the individual that I'm going to talk about first is the reason why I'm doing this today, because we've been planning this for about a month. I wasn't going to watch Loki. I had no interest in watching Loki. I watched the first half of Falcon and Winter Soldier and turned it off. And yeah, I did finish WandaVision, and God help me. But no, I wasn't going to do it. And then we've been putting this off for about 6 weeks, I think. So I said, yeah, we'll do it eventually. I just have to watch it. And I did watch it, and good God, that's 5 hours of my life I'm never getting back. So, spoilers, I didn't like Loki, but it was
my fault.
Mr. Mega Geek Ian, director of Rebecca Gold and other things, was the one that peer pressured me into this. God. So, thanks a lot, you bastard. I love you, though, man. So, Mega Geek, say hi.
Yeah. Hello. I'm glad 57 people has joined us. That's cool. And
we're up to like 85, 81.
Good.
Well, good to see everybody.
It's good to have you back, Bowstrex. Good to have you back, pal.
I'm back. I'm still semi-retired. I don't do this the way I will never go back to being a regular full-time YouTuber, because that was just miserable. I just now do things when I feel like it, except for a certain god-awful show that's we're going to talk about briefly at the beginning that's coming back for...
Guess what that is?
Yeah. So
it's as if I timed it deliberately for your comeback stream here, Ballstrick.
Oh, yes. This is the comeback stream. No, actually, I hadn't planned it because we had actually, it was supposed to be yesterday, but we pushed it off. But we've been planning this for weeks, and then this horse's ass ended up dropping at the same time, which again we will discuss briefly. But yes, I have decided I will. God help me! I will.
We're here to help
do
you through, Ballstrick. We're your
of
friends.
Series 13. I will be doing it because I started this 4 years ago, and I might as well fucking finish it. I just got myself demonetized. But that was going to happen anyway. And then the other individual who did not peer pressure me into this, although I think he did behind the scenes a little bit.
He did.
From the Facebook podcast, the co-conspirator in terms of fuck both of you. I love you both, but I hate you both at the same time. Spacebook Dan Hadley from the Spacebook podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Ballstrick. And yes, I'm going to plead the fifth on that on that particular charge, but it's great to be back with you. And the way I look at it, if we have to suffer, Ian and I, we had to take ourselves back through this awful 6-week experience, however long it was with Loki. Give ourselves sort of therapy, peel it all away, and so we thought, let's drag somebody else in as well. And you drew the short straw, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, so question.
Yes.
Have you both? I know you have, Dan. Did you get a chance to see the rainbow infested trailer?
I haven't. I've been in the theatre this afternoon, don't you know? The actual proper theatre, watching proper actors in proper plays, proper talented people too, people of talent. As somebody on YouTube sometimes says, proper peoples of talent. So I haven't seen the panel. You can both enlighten me. What have I missed? Should I?
Okay, well, give me a second here, and then in a second, I have some DMs to send out. Let's see, and I'm having I've also learned that I'm apparently a boomer. Even though if you remember correctly, this used to be a tech channel.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it hasn't been a tech channel in many years. Oh, and another question which has come up. Do I plan on beta testing Windows 11? No, because I frankly could not care less. The days of playing with technology are over. I just want it to work. Although, keep in mind, this is the company of Bill Gates, so God help us all. But I still refuse to own a Mac. Anyway, so I'm going to try and see if I can focus this up here. Okay, I've got this. Okay, so where's my screen share? They've changed the interface since I did this last.
They've given it a little tweak.
It has been a long time, mate.
They've tweaked it here and there.
Okay, so share screen.
God, what am I going to be born witness to this time? I've seen one graphic with a rainbow on. Is it really just that again?
It is. It's lots of rainbows this time.
Okay, so
just in case you didn't get the message,
if you haven't seen this, and yes, I will be going to the comments shortly because there's some people to invite on.
Filling up.
But because we have to discuss this, and not everybody's seen it. I only watched it once. Now I did start watching the panel. I made it to the halfway point in the panel. Then I couldn't watch the panel anymore. So it was just blowing smoke up each other's asses. But here, we'll do this.
I was going to say, at what point was too much?
So this is the Twitter. Who's excited?
Not me.
Okay, so in the comments, if you haven't seen this yet, who's excited? We could make a drinking game out of this. How many fucking rainbows?
Yeah,
that's been their crutch. Well, pretty much since the first visuals came out about this show. Just lots and lots of rainbows. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? It's so on the nose. It's ridiculous. They shouldn't be relying on this iconography, should they, Ian?
No.
After it's 3.5 years later, they shouldn't be falling back on this.
I didn't seek this out. I was watching Gary's channel and he showed it, and he showed a bit of the panel. And one thing I've noticed is that Jodie laughs like a witch. She literally laughs like a witch. You know,
she's wonderful. Now the limits I put on this is I'm only going to discuss this for at most the first half hour. Then we're going to go to Loki and the MCU because there's really only so much to say about this, and we want to go with the original thing because we don't want to discuss Doctor Who. No. We're going to talk about other things being destroyed, but again, because this is me, and because I cover this, I was telling the boys ahead of time that I'm kind of obliged to cover this, so I will cover it. But God help us. So let's begin. Let me know if you can hear the audio. You should be able to. Look at that smirk.
Look at that head behind her.
And the unkempt hair. This is what we're going with now.
Oh no.
We standards have dropped so low that we don't brush our hair anymore. And whenever I hear her voice, just my skin crawls. Okay. That's 43 seconds. Can we do it? We'll do it in little blocks.
Going in.
Oh wait,
Spoilers.
no, here's the logo.
Whoa, wait a moment.
So can anybody guess at what they're going for with this? I think that may be the actual new logo.
Oh God.
Oh,
Help us.
they actually put that in the opening credits, do you mean?
I think so.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Now
Oh, no.
it's very understated. I have no idea what this could mean. They're just so subtle. It's maybe they're just saying this is the light at the end of the rainbow when this horse shit finally gets canceled. All right, so we have the new logo. So 4 seconds in, and I want to gouge my eyes out. Let's continue.
Oh no, please stop.
Oh, here's some lazy filmmaking. So 43-second trailer, and we have 4 seconds of blurring. Just leave her like that. And here's the thing I've noticed about the show from a creative standpoint, and I've said this before, it's awful. Ian, as a filmmaker, just technically, it's terrible. The damn thing is out of focus. The color correction is shit. I've said this before, but compare any Moffat era HD episode of this. It looked like the show it looks awful. It's like it was color corrected by somebody who just discovered, oh, I've got my magical, some little rich kid that gets Final Cut Pro on his $5,000 MacBook to yell at people on Twitter. Like, oh, color correct. I'm just going to go with the default. Okay, I'm definitely demonetized by now.
Didn't white balance it. That's the problem.
No, they didn't.
When this era started, I believe the first couple of episodes, it looked fresh. I may
It did
not
look
have
fantastic.
been on board, but it did kind of look like, if not a step up, then a step away, and that it was something distinctive and different and tuned up ever so slightly. But that seemed to drop off at a really alarming rate. And by series 12, it all looked desperately cheap from Spyfall right the way through.
Well, it's a different ratio, wasn't it? The first episode's a different ratio. So
it's a show done by people that don't know what the hell they're doing. But actually, I'm glad that we have Ian, because I could claim to be a filmmaker, but I'm not. I just make bitchy YouTube videos. But we do have somebody here that is a professional in this area. So
who's that then?
Well, okay. So somebody who makes things. I'm a professional bitcher. Between the three of us, you're the professional film dude.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll comment on other things, but you can comment on the aesthetics of not how to make films.
Wow.
Oh wait. Okay. So 10 seconds, 10 goddamn seconds of a close up out of a 43-second trailer. Man, look, that is the look of evil. Now, here's another observation I'm going to make, and this I've also made several times before. Oh yes, and any of the wrenches that I have in there, if anybody's being a dick, just block them. I've got no patience for that shit anymore. I'm done with it. I don't do drama. But anyway, so I've said this before, and I'll say it again. What makes the doctor are the eyes. Because you have to actually believe that this is I guess at this point, 2,000-year-old Time Lord. And every doctor, including the multiple Hartnells, we'll just call them that, including Peter Cushing, obviously including the War Doctor, you looked at their eyes and you could see that this is somebody who has wisdom. It's you acted with the eyes. Do we see any of that in this picture?
Not really, no.
No,
but then devoid of all character.
But you made the mistake, Bolstrick. You said Time Lords. In fact, the Doctor's not a Time Lord.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna call it. Okay, so alien diverse space baby.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so
you got that right.
So no longer Dr. Nasty, now diverse alien space baby. So diverse alien space baby, you just see a mixture of hatred and blankness behind those eyes, but I don't see a Time Lord. I see somebody that doesn't brush their hair anymore. That's actually kind of funny. The makeup and hair people don't care about their jobs either. This is what happens, folks, when you don't hire based on talent.
Well, I mean, I hate to be the one who's sort of devil's advocate here, but there could be a tiny, and if this is a stretch, there could be a tiny glimmer, a morsel of story behind this somewhere, unless this is purposefully shot for the trailer. I know which one I believe. I think that probably isn't the case. I do like how she seems to have got the same eyebrows as Teela on that new He-Man show. You seen that?
She hasn't got a side cutting, though, has she?
I think we just have you guys seen He-Man? I haven't seen it. I don't want to see it, but I have said I will see it. So I'm sure it's going to be about as fun as being probed with an anal fork. Now, I came up with this. I don't know what an anal fork is, but it sounds
just
very unpleasant.
I can imagine. It does sound. It does conjure up a certain picture. It's not good. And
that's
the thing is, though, Bolstrick, I think they did her hair like that deliberately. It's not like she's not combed it; that they've literally styled it that way.
Yeah,
so it's a different hairstyle from the other series. Well, I don't know why they did it that way, but there's no way that hair wasn't styled.
We call it frumpy.
I call it. It looks like
I call it CBA. Can't be asked.
But you know what it is? Is that they're trying to make her not look feminine. That's the goal, isn't it? So that's why they've given her hairstyle like that.
But Ian, that's sexist. That's sexist. I know. Why would you want to be a dirty man?
I know.
More to the point, I think they are trying to rather than actually put some work into developing the performance and maybe changing the costume, accepting that this doesn't work and change the costume, they're trying to give her character, to instill the 13th Doctor. We're now over 22 episodes in to try and imbue this character with some sort of personality and some weight. But they're still not looking at the components that are clearly not working. They're not even helping this actress to reach this role. It's the same mistake over and over and over again. If this is all that they're going to be prepared to do, is to rough up her hair a little bit. I don't know. Maybe we're judging too.
And I'm just wrenching a few people here, just because we've got some people that should have been wrenched. So if you've been wrenched, it means I thought you were wrenched, but you haven't been wrenched. So I'm just adding a few. I'm not even going to acknowledge what's going on.
I think one of those is probably Ben Cook.
Lee, I didn't even know you hadn't been wrenched. How did that happen? Let's see, Carla, I'm gonna wrench you.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, that people are like that, isn't it? I mean, you're allowed to have opinions on shows. I always say this: I don't have a problem if people like this Doctor Who, but I keep saying it's not for me. Because I don't recognize it as Doctor Who anymore. It's something completely different. So if people, it just goes to show these rude people that just put all this crap in your thing. They're just idiots. What can I say? What I mean? So they don't have to do that. But we should, we should be happy. I'm not going to disrespect their view. If they like this show, they like the show. I'm not going to put them down for it. But as I keep saying, I won't watch it because I don't recognize this as Doctor Who. That's all I can say. Yeah. It's incredible.
Okay,
anyway.
So, we'll go back here. So now that unpleasantness is done, so to everybody I just volunteered to be a wrench, welcome. And I'll wrench other people too. I was just looking for people that I know aren't idiots. Not to say that people that weren't wrenched are idiots. I just haven't gotten to you yet. All right, so the Doctor returns for now. Do we notice the rainbows?
No, where are they? Yeah.
Okay. So more subtlety.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Biggest adventure yet. So
tall order.
See if we could find. Here we go. We'll just.
Someone's touching.
So what we learned about this show in the panel that I could only get halfway through. Here's the funny thing. Is just as I'm looking at the things I'm not going to address, but I will have legitimate people get their posts flagged, and yet this is going through. Fuck YouTube. Okay, so anyways, what we learned is this upcoming series is going to be a story-long arc.
Wow.
So it's going to be one long extended Chib story because that's what everybody else is doing. And they've run out of ideas. So yeah, it's going to be one long continuous story. Chib says it's going to be very exciting. Oh yeah, and there's a new character added, which we see in the trailer. So we'll see that in a sec. Yet. Crappy effects.
Reused effects.
Okay, so in case she hasn't reminded us enough, she's the doctor. No, you're the space traveling diverse space baby, I think. So yeah, we've got Whitaker here. Her hair's wet now.
Why?
Oh yeah, and we have to be reminded that it's Yaz, and Yaz with the same facial expression. Fuck off. Oh wait, so we were talking about her looking like a witch. So here she's flying. They're doing a Mary Poppins. Now she's bitchy. Oh yes, and one thing that they were saying when in the panel. What's his face? The new dude was talking about having to go through auditions, and they slipped out.
John Bishop.
Yeah, I so don't care. I can't even remember his name. But it was leaked out that Mandeep Gill didn't even have to audition. She was just dropped in. Anybody surprised?
It's diversity, isn't it?
I have to say, and I don't know why that has surprised me. I just thought that they would want for a breakout role that potentially for this when it was cast in 2017 that they would want to audition multiple talent to see who would fit best. I'd never seen Mandeep in anything before. She obviously must have really impressed in whatever it was, Hollyoaks. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I am. I'm not loving these big graphics all over the screen. All of these scenes so far, I mean, the one of Jodie, not the doctor, Jodie with wet hair looks just like a scene from the Witch Hunters. Yeah. All of these scenes just look just like scenes from series 11 and 12.
Yep.
Yeah. I think John Bishop is going to be the butt of all the jokes.
Oh, well, he was throughout the panel. He was self-deprecating the whole way through, so that should tell you something. Whereas the other two, you could see, were very pleased with themselves.
Yeah.
So you're hiding something. Yeah, the inability to act, and you're not hiding it very well. Okay, we got more manic. Oh yeah. Okay, so here's
wait, hold on. Why are they making it out like it's a comic book with woe?
Because that's what. Oh yeah, more smugness. Where is he?
It's what they call enforced fun, Ian. They're trying to remind you that this show actually used to be fun, and it used to excite us, and it used to ramp us up for something. So that's what the big graphics, that's what the big text is about. It may as well say exciting bit, ! Bounding across the screen. It is telling us what to do. This show is now its own, the show itself, but this trailer is its own warm-up man. It's a trailer within a trailer. Weird. Get excited, get excited, get excited.
Oh, why am I at Den of Geek? It was the first thing I clicked on.
Who's this fella?
I don't know, but he looks diverse.
This was their announcement. This was their special guest.
Oh? You are joking. I said, when somebody asked me on Twitter the other day, who do you think the special guest is going to be? I said, look for whichever cast member of Broadchurch he hasn't put in it yet. And I was bloody right. I don't know who this guy is.
He was on Game of Thrones.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's in Broadchurch as well, according to that. Chris Chibnall is so predictable. The man has not got any cards left in his pack.
Nope.
It's a real shame, really. As I said, I've watched Doctor Who since I was a kid and always liked it. I mean, I've got to admit, I've never, ever I've had a love-hate relationship with Doctor Who. I always say this: a love-hate relationship with Doctor Who, and I've never stopped watching it. You know, if I didn't like I didn't like Peter at first, but I grew to like him. Do you know what I mean? I was never one to shy away of telling people what I thought of Doctor Who, but when Jodie appeared, I just couldn't watch anymore. That was it for me. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, anyway. So. Yeah, it's not good in my opinion. They've literally destroyed a well-loved TV show that everybody loved, you know. So there you go. What more can you say, hey?
Yep. Well, here's our announcement. So they introduce him as Game of Thrones and don't really mention Broadchurch because Chibs is lazy. But yeah, so I can't even remember his character's name on Game of Thrones, to be honest with you. You thought it was going to be a big actor, but it was this dude. So that's our announcement.
But the thing is, I mean, I don't even know who this fella is. He wasn't. Actually, I don't watch Game of Thrones. Is he a big character in Game of Thrones?
No, minor character. I can't even remember what his name was.
Okay.
I mean, bear in mind that when they trailered this panel, they said it was not just a special guest, a very special guest, implying significance in one way or another. This man, and now for all I know, Game of Thrones is a quality show. I would imagine Mandip. Everybody had to audition to get on that.
Was quality.
Yeah. But I would imagine, for example, that Mandip Gill's case, everybody, probably with the exception of Sean Bean, had to audition to get on that show. So this guy, for all I know, he must have disappeared into that part because I don't remember him in Game of Thrones. And obviously, I wish him luck in his new role. But he's clearly a largely unknown actor playing a character that is a fresh character. We've never seen this character before. How is this very special? How is it a surprise in any way? It's just an announcement of another cast member, which new TV shows do in new seasons all the time. There's nothing new, nothing exciting, nothing surprising about this. Maybe his agent was surprised. Maybe he was surprised. I don't know. I can't go on any shows like for instance when this series comes out. Is it August? It's coming out, September? I can't remember. When it comes out, don't ask me to come on any panel because I am not watching it. I didn't watch the last season or the season before that. I'm not going to be watching this one, so just don't ask me because I wouldn't know. I said it stopped here. It stopped at Jodie for me.
It's I kind of fooled the boat. Well, not technically. I guess I kind of fooled you into this, but no, it's because we were here to discuss something else, and we ended up discussing this.
That's all right.
But
it would have been the elephant in the room, wouldn't it, if we hadn't mentioned it? I suppose.
I couldn't not acknowledge it, but now we've acknowledged it, and everything's good. So just give me a second here. I'm just going to pull it up because I believe we've had some super chats and a few people stop by, and I'm going to be sending out some invitations to other people to come in as well as we get later on. It's been so long since I've uploaded. They've redesigned YouTube Studio again. Here we go. And yeah, the last time I streamed was on March 21st, 2020. It was called the Everything is Crap live stream number 2. I think you both were on that, actually.
I think I was on that, yeah.
Okay, so for £2 from Free, Bulls Trek, you should review Gavin and Stacey.
Okay.
So what is this show? I think
it's sitcom. I'm not really a fan of that, but it's well loved in England. Put it that way.
Is it pre or post 2015?
It's pre.
Oh, okay.
They recently did a special, didn't they? And so it's probably gone woke by now.
James Corden's one of the stars in the show.
Oh, okay, so, fuck that then. But thank you for the option. I may do an ironic review if I have time, but to be honest, I'm so far behind in things that I want to look at, I probably wouldn't have the time. But if I'm really bored, I will. From Garbage for £5, I want to say 1,000 things. You're always welcome to say 1,000 things. I say a lot, but I speak for many of your almost 50K subscribers when I say, thank you, sir. Well, You're welcome. I haven't really done much. I've been gone for months, aside from like 2 videos. But thank you. You're welcome. And hail Ian and hail Dan too. So hail you both.
Cheers.
From long-term follower and subscriber unknown-289, it's going to be the same as series 11 and 12. No, I think it's actually going to be worse. They're going to double down again because they don't care anymore. And I think they might actually manage sub 1 million views this series because nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. Is normally the trailer would be a big event. It had like the 30,000 people that wanted to watch it, and that's it. From Free again for £2 at the Mega Geek was the Rebecca Gold set pre LG LEG. I believe it's supposed to be LGBTQ.
Yes, it was. It was pre all that. We made it. It was 3 years ago now, but it was written before all this stuff started, and took me a long time to collect the money to make it. So, and it wasn't written with that in mind at all, you know. So, don't believe me. Believe me, it's up to you.
No, and that element isn't the focus either.
It's not.
Rebecca Gold, as I think you said years ago, is not a Mary Sue. And no, this is, a real female character, because we used to write characters as real female characters up until about 5 years ago. And then from Matt G for £2, Loki, Jodie Seasons, I think. Is Loki better than Jodie Seasons? What do you think?
Well, quality's better.
Yeah.
Money wise, right, Dan? Money wise, it looks.
I say that it is still better than both Series 11 and Series 12 of Doctor Who by quite some way.
Yeah, I would say that too, but I still didn't like Loki at all.
Me neither. Me neither. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that might be a good introduction, but just another question. Mr. Trek, any chance you might show up on Friday Night Tights? Actually, I have been on a few times. When was the last time I was on? It was last year, but I have been on Friday Night Tights before. But I leave those types of things up to Gary. It's his show, so whoever he wants to invite on is cool. And I'm honored that I've been able to be a part of it in the past.
Well, Gary said he was going to invite me and Dan on, and we're still waiting for it in the post, aren't we? The invitation, Dan. Dan, we're still waiting for it, aren't we, Dan?
I think the postman must be on strike.
Got lost.
Gary. What's going on?
Yeah,
he's a very busy man, though. Is that Gary? Very busy.
I know.
It's believe it or not, Friday Night Tights, which he has a producer, because it's it's a very difficult show to plan. So I know Gary will often schedule his guests weeks, sometimes even months in advance. So it's a lot of planning goes into it. But no, I'm even if I'm never on again, I was more than honored to be on it. I think maybe the 4 or 5 times I've been on in the past. But cool. So now we'll switch back to what we originally were here to talk about. This will be as everybody suddenly leaves. So the MCU.
Yeah. Well, what can you say about the MCU?
Where should we start? So the original impetus for this, and I have to apologize for Ian, because I literally put this off for months. Well, not months, but I think about 6 weeks, mainly because I didn't really want to watch the show. And I was hearing not good things from my fellow YouTubers. And just give me 1 second here. Goodbye.
Loki.
Sorry, I was just dealing with some stuff over here on the side. But yeah, Loki. So before we give our initial impressions, I didn't want to watch the show. I had no desire to watch the show. I watched WandaVision, which I actually really liked at the beginning. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so did I.
So did I.
Yeah, it's like, okay, the MCU, maybe they're going to actually try and give us something different, but no, we didn't. We also glorify evil people now in the MCU and make them as heroes, because apparently we don't know what we did or what she did for them, but it was bad. I got through the first half episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I just turned it off. But I've heard bad things about that.
Yeah, that's
I have not watched Black Widow, although Ian has seen it, so he's going to be our authority on that. But I did watch Loki. I went into this with an open mind. No, I did. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be reviewing it, discussing it, I'll give it a fair shot. And for maybe the first couple minutes, I didn't mind. One thing that I will say one thing I liked. I like the 90s or the 70s aesthetic.
Yeah, everybody says
although
that.
it was ripped up right out of the world of Fallout. But I gave it a shot. I didn't like it. We'll discuss the reasons why as we get through this. But I'm going to now turn things over to my other two guests to give their thoughts, and we'll start with Ian since he's the one that roped me into this.
Hey.
And was saying you have to watch this, you won't believe it. I'm like, it can't be that bad.
You've got an interesting comment here in the chat. But, sorry, Ian, before
right.
we get into that, I think it's important. There's a comment from somebody called Kalidenza, who says in capital letters, so I don't know if they're shouting that, Kalidenza, but it says, would it kill you guys to say something positive once and a bit? So once, or maybe once. It says once in a bit. And I don't. I mean, maybe it does seem that way to from the outsider looking in, that we don't love anything at all. Any of us. I mean, if you see any of my content, you'll see that there's plenty that I do love. I think Cobra Kai is absolutely outstanding. For example, there is good stuff around. I think Resident Alien is outstanding, which I have Ian to thank. That's a good show that the man referred to me. Same with Barry, the show about the Hitman.
Barry's
the
great.
Orville, Kalidenza, the Orville is an excellent show. So I will say non-stop positive things about all that. But I just thought it was important that we sort of clocked that, because that's one of the very few constructive questions I think we've had in the chat.
Yeah, it is important. It is important to say that, Dan. We do love a lot of stuff.
There is good stuff out there.
But we're brought on here to talk about Loki, which we didn't like. It's not like we want to poo-poo all over the TV versions of Marvel stuff. But unfortunately, they've been really bad, in my opinion, of course. As I said, I have no problem with people that like Loki, or I know plenty of people that loved Loki. But unfortunately, once you see the agenda that's floating through all the series now, you just can't unsee it. And that's
Ian,
what spoils my...
trick. Yeah. Hands up, guys. Who was a Marvel fan, an MCU fan, up until this Phase 4? I was.
Both straight can't put his hands up.
Big fan. Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. But we know that he's doing.
Realized I muted myself.
You did, yeah.
He's doing it spiritually, everybody. Yeah, I definitely was.
Yeah.
There's been 2 films, maybe out of 20 odd, that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Admittedly, they were the ones that I didn't like. I really didn't like, but just 2 out of a hit rate. Like, I loved Iron Man 2, for Christ's sake.
I hated it anyway.
There's definitely been a sea change, and the moving over into TV with Disney Plus this year should have been really, really exciting for all of us. And as Bolstrick, as you were just saying, WandaVision did start with a lot of promise. You could see that it was perhaps more diverse, both behind the camera and in front of the camera. But as I was saying on another show yesterday, just because something is diverse doesn't mean it's woke. Cobra Kai is diverse. It's not woke. It's just really entertaining, beautifully written, with well-crafted characters, and therefore the diversity does enhance it because it's not woke and it's not beating us over the head with anything.
But a lot of people don't look. Right, you cannot deny the fact that Marvel comics were for boys. Right, you cannot deny it. Right, when comics started out, it was for boys, okay? And then when they started making these movies, Kevin Feige started making these movies, it was for boys. Let's face it. And a lot of women got into it because they largely, yeah. So I mean, look, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, they're all boys' adventure stuff. Indiana Jones was another one. So, and to deny it now and to try and change the whole playing field now.
And little girls liked it. Girls liked it. Girls liked it because it had all those qualities. They didn't want it changed any more than the little boys did.
Yeah, my niece, Jamie, when we went to see Endgame, her favorite character was Iron Man, right? And I'd seen it before I took my nieces to see it, and she was going because they all heard that somebody died at the end, and Jamie was like, "I hope Iron Man doesn't die," and I was like, I didn't want to tell her. And then when Iron Man died, she was crying her eyes out. She was literally crying her eyes out in the cinema, right? So, don't tell me that girls don't like the way the MCU was before, because they did. They did. Yeah. And there's Black Widow's a strong female character that, my nieces loved as well. Do you know what I mean? It was, I think it was balanced there, Anyway.
And she was a big part of that first Avengers movie as well, wasn't she, Bolstrick? She
was.
I think she was introduced in Iron Man 2, but she's always
she was a huge part in that movie, and that's when you should have made a Black Widow movie, not now.
I agree.
Yeah.
I thought they left it way too late.
Yeah, but you can just see the stuff creeping into the last movie, which was Endgame. Just a little bit of stuff. For me, it didn't spoil it, but it did make me grind my teeth a bit when you had that scene where all the girls were walking at the ending, where everybody talks about.
Oh, and I got a quick question because I haven't used this a year and a half. Where the hell is slow mode for the chat?
Do you know, Dan?
I don't know, I'm afraid. I mean, I've been trying to slow it down too.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and there used to be a button. I can't see the button.
You have a very active chat for a man who's been away for 18 months, Bolstrick.
I
love the fact that your punters address you as Mr. Trek as well. That's very respectful.
That's new. Maybe I'll change my name. But yeah, one thing that I wanted to touch on, and the fact that I will admit I am known for being somewhat negative.
Yeah, but I don't think
maybe a little bit.
I don't think you're negative, Bolstrick. I don't think you're negative at all. I think you're passionate. Look, this is what people get mixed up with, right?
Fervent and passionate.
Yeah, passion is something completely different, right? If you're passionate about something, you fight for it, okay, right? But at the end of the day, if you're a good fan of something, you will end up shaking hands with the person that disagrees with you. That is a true fan, right? You don't try and burn their house down or insult them or anything crap like that, because that is just not right at all. Okay, and those people, I'm sorry, I don't have any time for those people at all. I would listen to anyone that has a different view to me, because I might learn something, right? That's the whole point of listening to the next person, to learn, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, but I don't think you're negative. I've listened to most of what you've put out on YouTube. Yes, you're passionate about it. Yes, sometimes you go slightly overboard, but it's passion, right? And I can't take that away from you.
Analytical and constructive, and you put thought into the things that you put out there and say. And as we know, thinking doesn't go down too well with some of the people out there in the world at the moment, does it? I'm sure if people could outlaw thinking, there'd be a great many people out there that would consign free thinking to the same bin that they want free speech in. I'm going to try and adjust my light.
It's all right. But Bolstrick, don't think that you're negative. I don't think you're negative at all. You look, as I keep quoting Gary because I really like Gary. As Gary says, right, we've got to call these things out. If we don't call these things out, then the normies won't be turned. The normies won't know what's going on. My brother loves Loki, right? I was trying to explain to him why I didn't like it, and he can't see it. But he will one day. He will see it once every show is using the same format.
Yeah.
So he will see it. I think you've assigned yourself a job, Bolstrick, to actually put, to get out there what's going on. Same thing with Gary. Same thing with Az. Same thing with Dan. You guys are fighting against this rubbish, and quite rightly so. Do you know what I mean? So you should never apologize for that. If you think you're on the right side, you should never apologize. That's just my opinion.
I mean, right? I've never viewed myself as particularly fighting for anything in the content that I make, but I do believe in representing a side to the argument that isn't getting heard, isn't getting respected, is the attempts to silence it, to negate it, to smear the people who think that way, who receive the content that people like the BBC and Disney are putting out there, and to label them with the nastiest of slurs, which is desperately unfair. And the whole, what I do resent more than anything else is the term toxic fandom. I think that is the biggest sin committed on customers, basically customers, loyal supporters, the people who have got all of these intellectual properties there in the first place. It's unforgivable. And I mean, we're at a place now this very weekend where a very loyal fan base of one particular property is being gaslighted by a multimillionaire stoner who seems to have lost all reflective abilities whatsoever, just completely lost the plot, who cannot seem to stop talking. And because he's part of that culture, that exchange, that cooperative between the Hollywood system and the bought and paid for websites, including Rotten Tomatoes, all in pocket, and it's so easy to see all the connective tissue between all of these things. Now it's all laid bare for us all to see. We've all got eyes in our heads. We've all got the internet. We can all do with the minimal of research to see where all these things connect, who's connected to who and where, and who has something to gain. Where is money going? When money is changing hands, who is giving and who is receiving, and what do they get out of it? And it's all so easy to see.
I think Kevin Smith got pulled into it when he was offered to direct a couple of episodes of Supergirl. So I'm just assuming now, I don't know the truth, that he wasn't really getting any work. And so when they offered him to direct 2 episodes of Supergirl, I think it's 3 episodes of Supergirl he directed, he got pulled into the CW. And I think that's how it started.
Well, I think he was in a creative impasse. And I think that's, I mean, to take this back into the MCU a little bit, I think that we see this with the movies and maybe coming through a little bit with the TV too, because the talent they are going to for the movies and the TV shows, well, I think it's more telling of Marvel Studios, of the culture there, by the people who they don't work with, the people who walk out, or the people who they sever connections with. Edgar Wright famously was attached to Ant-Man for the longest time. That predated the MCU itself. There was clearly a massive fallout there, and he wasn't the only one. Several directors, and now
there was a woman, right, Dan? Was there a woman that turned down a Marvel because they said, Patty don't worry about the action. Don't worry about the action. That's going to be dealt with. And she went, well, if I'm not directing, and she walked. I can't remember which director.
I believe it was Patty Jenkins. She was who, as we know now, she directed Wonder Woman for DC and Warner's, and then Wonder Woman 84. She was originally going to be the director of Thor 2. That's right. Yeah, okay. Thor 2. And I think she was attached to it for a very long time off the back of that movie Monster that she made. So yes, she was attached to Thor 2, and they were too interfering with the same thing that has happened with Edgar Wright. So that's two. Well, Patty Jenkins at that time was an Oscar-winning director, and Edgar Wright coming off the back of the Cornetto trilogy, people who could not work within that Marvel system. So 10 years on, what's changed? It sounds to me like the problem or the culture there has stayed exactly the same. And I suppose we'll never know the directors who've turned them down. But I'm amazed that Sam Raimi has gone there, Bolstrek, for one of Phase 4's films.
Well, sorry,
amazed.
Yeah, he's directing Multiverse of Madness, isn't he?
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, yeah.
That's the only one that I'm even remotely interested in seeing, because it's supposed to be, the first MCU horror movie, and I'm a horror fan, probably more so than science fiction these days anyway. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that. But at this point, I'm accepting that I'm going to be let down.
Well, it's a foregone conclusion, let's face
it. You have to expect that. Now I'm surprised when I'm not let down by something.
Yeah.
And
me too.
And I'm trying to think right now, is there anything currently on right now that I actually say to myself, or anything that's come out this year that I say to myself, wow, that's awesome. I can't remember the last time I said that.
The wait, that came out of nowhere. That really surprised me. That really entertained me. I can't wait for that to come back.
Yeah.
No. Well, there should have been something for everybody in the
Resident Alien. right? Resident
Yeah,
Alien.
yeah.
I can't wait for that to come. Have you seen Resident Alien, Bolstrek?
No, I have been told that I need to see it.
It's really good. It's really funny. Takes the mickey out of this
delightful.
SJW culture thing. Whatever. It's slightly, just a tad bit female centric, but it's so funny that it just takes your mind off the rest of the world. I looked forward to watch because they threw it every week. They didn't throw it all at once.
Yeah.
So every week I was looking forward to it. I recommend it highly if you wanna laugh.
What's it on again?
It was on the Sci-Fi Channel over here. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
on Canada. I
Don't
know.
think it's on Sci-Fi Channel there. I think it's on
No.
Crave.
It's probably on Crave.
Yeah.
The Crave is like the dumping ground for everything that isn't Disney, Netflix, or Prime. We get that's where we get our STDs from. See what I did there?
It's also a diverse show, but you never notice. Again, it's got that Cobra Kai quality.
Yeah.
It's diverse, but not woke. It feels real, but it's not on the nose. It
But
feels like it matters.
I'm not going to give anything away, Bolstrake, but all I can say is the sheriff, the black sheriff in that made me laugh out loud. And it's been a long time since I've seen a TV show that's made me laugh out loud. So with that, I think you should watch it. Yeah.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to watch it, and we're going to do a stream on it, and we're going to do something positive.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Sounds
I'm all up for positive. Yeah.
The thing I was looking forward to most about 2021, I mean, here we are now. We're past the halfway mark of the year, and we knew this was going to be the year that Disney Plus trots out all these Marvel shows. And obviously, you look at when there's a slate, you decide which ones you're looking forward to more than the others. It's the same with the movies and these TV shows. And for obvious reasons, as a big fan of time travel TV, everybody, I'm a Doctor Who guy too. As a big fan of time travel TV, the thing that I'd got circled in Bolstrek was Loki. I could tell that they were going to lean in a little to the timey-wimey with this. And Tom Hiddleston, 6 foot of 100% charisma, isn't he?
Yeah.
How can they possibly? There's no way. Here's a character that everybody loves. There is no way they can get this wrong.
They did. They got it wrong badly.
But boy, did they ever.
They did. I mean, what did you think, Bolstrek, when you watched the first episode? Because like everybody talks about the first time he appears, the big black woman hits him.
Well, that's where I was at. That's where I was going with this. Because I watched the first episode, and again, I did it with an open mind.
Right.
So I watched the first episode. Visually, I loved it, and my favorite genre is the 70s. So I like the 70s aesthetic. So and by this point, I tried to avoid spoilers. Although on Twitter, it's kind of hard not to. So I gathered that most people didn't like it, to put it mildly.
Well, sorry, if I just stop you there. Yeah. Surprisingly enough, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a good score by the audience. And the same thing with WandaVision, which really surprised me.
Actually, we'll pull up Loki on Rotten Tomatoes just to see what it is. Right? Although He-Man doesn't.
Yeah, He-Man's completely.
I can see some of why people would like the show. I mean, with episode one.
It's 84. But at the beginning, I was thinking, you know what, this honestly doesn't look that bad. The character is kind of the comic relief of the MCU, or one of the I think in the Avengers, when Loki gets bounded back and forth by a rag doll from the Hulk. I think that's one of my favorite. I swear to God, I pissed myself literally watching that in the theater. So I was looking forward to it. But then, you have the scene. And here's the thing, folks. I hate to have to say this, but now we kind of have to say it because we know that's the case. So diverse female character. It is what it is. The punching scene, the slow motion punching scene. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, God damn it. And it was shit from there. Loki becomes a supporting character in his own show. That's right. I think I was joking about this. It seems the singular purpose of every woman on the show is to beat the shit out of Loki. Loki is turned into a complete joke, and not in a good way like he had been previously. He's a side character in his own show. I have to say this has one of the most boring season finales I have ever seen.
Agreed.
That was that, and I watched this in a week. I watched Avengers. I think it was last Sunday, and then I Monday through Thursday I watched this. I kind of watched it back to back, and your finale is people talking.
Well, things used to ramp up, didn't they, to a finale? You know, things would start big, then they sort of dwindle. You'd get it getting a bit more considered and smaller and character led in the middle with a bit of a kick, and then it would build up again to the finale. I do not know what they were thinking with this. It has as a production, as a 6-episode story arc, it's got no shape whatsoever. This is one of the worst season finales I have ever seen, and I've watched series 11 and series 12 of Doctor Who. This is absolutely dreadful.
I don't think anyone's noticed, right? And I've just realized that now what they're trying to do, the people that's trying to retcon stuff, they're doing something like this. So this show's called Loki, right?
Yeah.
And they make you believe that was the Tom Hiddleston Loki that we focused on. But it wasn't. It was the girl, right? But they will come back.
You called it a bait and switch.
That's right. Yeah. So they'll come back and say, well, it's called Loki, right? And they're all Lokis. And then the same thing with Master of the Universe. They'll go, it's not called He-Man Master of, it's called Masters of the Universe. So don't blame us. You know what I mean? That's what's happening now. So the next franchise that's going to be tainted with this crap is going to have a title that you know that doesn't say the main character. I don't know what the next one's going to be, but that seems to be the pattern as well. I think a lot of people realize that pattern that's happening.
And well, now that the multiverse has been freed, think of what this opens up going forward. Everybody's going to be a girl. Not that there's anything wrong with girl heroes. But it's the motivation and reason behind it. And I'm just going to drop out here just for a quick second. I just have to fix something. But yes, continue. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, Colin P. Smith there mentions in the chat on your point, and he mentions the Marvels. And then we've got something where they have removed the title character's name from the title of her own sequel. We're expected to believe that she's a really popular character. Work that out. But okay, we'll buy that. We'll buy that. But there they are. What they're doing is they're creating a team, aren't they? They're bringing together all these characters. Yeah. One character that we, to be fair, we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen an actor in that part yet as Miss Marvel. So she's going to be on that squad. And so is Monica Rambeau from WandaVision, who I personally quite but I don't think it was a cinematic character or a movie star performance where you think, God, that person, they belong on the big screen. I want to see that go like that. So yeah, I think that's the kind of thing that you're sort of talking about. That's them going next level and writing off their failures, saying, "Oh no, people loved it really, but we'll change it anyway because well, why not? We'll just give people more of the things that we tell them that they like." But I think they do believe that the audiences are stupid. Everybody.
Yeah, as I said, I really, for me, the MCU stopped at Endgame. I thought that was the perfect place to stop. Seriously, even though I liked
it was
Endgame,
the perfect place.
It was, and
they would have been mad to stop, though, wouldn't they? Ian?
No, look, okay, right. So if
leave all that money on the table,
okay, right. So if they stopped, right, and they basically carried on with the way they started with Iron Man, the tone of everything, having respect for the characters and stuff like that, then I would say I'd like to carry on. But it's obvious what they're doing. I'm not going to keep repeating myself, but it is obvious what they're doing. It's so obvious. It's ridiculous.
The change of culture behind the scenes that has made that it didn't have to be this major tonal shift between phases 3 and 4. It didn't have to go down the route of the MCU. More female characters, by all means. But it is now. I mean, this year we've had Kelly in the chat asks, should I watch WandaVision? I would say you absolutely should.
Yeah, you should.
The best of the show so far this year.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm back just to let everybody know. So this cumbersome, busted ass YouTube system. After like 20 minutes, I have enabled slow mode.
Oh, excellent.
Why did they have to, like, it used to be a button. Why do they have to, I had to pull up, well, you guys were talking, I had to pull up a goddamn instructional video to show me how to enable slow chat. It's like buried in the video settings. So
Nah.
yeah. But anyway, so that should deal with that.
Good stuff.
So everybody is saying thank you. Yes, and I would like to especially thank all my my old wrenches and the new wrenches that I've added. Oh, Count Roshula, my very, very old friend. He's been watching my channel for, I think, since 2009. Oh, dude, you're getting a wrench. Okay.
I'm really surprised how many people attacked the chat.
Oh no, I was expecting it.
Was you?
So hello to Count Roshula, probably my longest lasting viewer. So welcome, my good friend. And at some point, actually, he says he liked the first half, but then it went downhill. And you and I, my friend, we are gonna at some point finally do a stream together. So I just sorry for the sidetrack there, but awesome. And I'm bringing in some other people shortly. Noel and Noel the TARDIS Zone. He's going to give us the different opinion when I bring him on because he actually liked Loki, which, you know what, there's nothing wrong with that. And we will welcome the other side of the argument. I'm going to bring him in shortly, but here I'm going to add Lee, who has been trying. Lee has been dealing with a shit show in my chat. So thank you,
that's been
so much. Thank you for that, Lee. I couldn't
trigger happy. No, everyone's been on it. Everyone's been
thank you, everybody.
Amazing. Well done.
How you doing, Lee? All right, mate?
I'm good. Good to see you, man. Yeah,
good to see you. Everyone. Well, good to see your picture. Put it that way.
Good to see those cheekbones. Those cheekbones.
He is my prettiest friend by far.
Yeah, do you know what? Right, I actually accidentally, when he took his camera off, saw what he looked like, and I thought, "Fuck, man, that guy's good looking. What the hell's going on? Why has he put up a picture? For God's sakes, you know what I mean?
Protecting the moneymaker. That's what it is." But talking about going back to the chat for a moment, Count Roshula. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly.
Count Roshula.
Count Roshula. The Loki episodes 1 and 2 were good, and then it went downhill. I don't disagree with that. I didn't give up hope for this show until around halfway through. When that first episode started, Bolstrek, as you said, I think Ian and I, we did a stream about it, and I said it took 35 seconds for the white male hero to be punched out by the woman of color, and that included
was it that? It was only 35 seconds.
Yeah, that included the opening credits as well. Bolstrek. But after that, I thought, well, and that's an opening statement I didn't appreciate. That's the kind of opening statement that we got in series 12 of Doctor Who, with that kind of, it's an upgrade. It's that kind of on the nose. Oh yeah, piss off. But after that, I thought it was okay, and I enjoyed the stuff with Owen Wilson. The way they built those characters together as the kind of they gave it a kind of buddy cop vibe, which I believed was going to carry forward, and I was kind of up for.
I actually forgot that Owen Wilson was even in it until
by episode 4. By episode 4, he isn't. It's as if he took the money and he probably recorded. It wouldn't surprise me if he recorded all of his scenes for the final 2 episodes. Of the season, one afternoon.
You know what, mate? Do you know what the worst thing about Loki? The Loki character is that he got upstaged by a kid. Because remember, when he got caught, they were going to sentence him and stuff like that. But when that little kid got caught, she got out of it. She nicked the thing and she went through the door, didn't she, and escaped. The Loki, the girl Loki, who was a child. Do you remember that? Yeah. So a little girl could escape, but Loki, the king of mischief,
that kept going all the way through. right at the end, she was breezing around from situation to situation, sort of say, okay, she'd walk up to the other characters who were mostly men and say, okay, what's your problem? And they tell her, and she'd go, oh, really? You don't know how to do that? It was total Dr. Nasty, Dr. Karen. It was that routine all over. Oh, don't you know how to do that? And then she'd sort of click her fingers.
It's always snark. It's the constant sneering and this kind of missive attitude, like
and she would never explain how she knew what she knew. So it was okay. You think she knows something that they don't. Maybe she's going to impart that wisdom, or we're going to get deeper into the character. But no, she's a woman. That's all you really need to know. So of course she knows better, and the story goes on until she does it again 3 or 4 scenes later. She pulls some trick on somebody, walks through a magic door, goes off to do whatever situation she's got to put right to clean it all up. And she's absolutely centre stage of that final episode, to the point where you just forget that Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston are in the damn thing.
What about the bit where she goes, I learnt magic, because they were at the table, and Loki goes, I learnt magic off my mum, and he shows her the fireworks thing, whatever. Yeah. And my mum told me I was adopted. And then she says, I learnt magic off my own back, and I knew I was adopted. So, come to your own conclusion there, That's all I can say.
Nobody told her. She just knew. Because she couldn't receive that information from a
character journey. Wow.
yeah. On paper, it's not looking very good. I mean, the character of Sylvie, although they still haven't really addressed it, she is a Loki. In the comics, this character is called the Enchantress.
Yes.
And they haven't bothered calling her the Enchantress. They've performed.
I haven't read the comics.
Yeah, the Enchantress is a great character in the Thor mythos, and she's very beautiful, seductive, long, bright yellow hair, but I suppose all comic book colours are bright, and very busty as well. I know we're not supposed to say that, but cleavage that Barbara Windsor would have envied. And good old Babs, we miss you, Babs. And she was. She was the Enchantress was related to Loki in the comic books.
Yeah.
But here they've sort of sidestepped all that to bring her into a closer alignment and to make it a lot more literal, so they can basically do what they do with everything else and give us the female version of
Loki. Loki got hit in every episode. Every episode.
Did he?
There was not one episode where he didn't get hit.
No chick.
Didn't he get kicked in the balls repeatedly?
Yes.
I heard. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I mean, it was episode 4 or something like that.
By Lady Sif.
Yeah.
Who was a character, a character who was perfectly fine before.
Even at the ending, when they confronted whoever that fella was at the table, and
they didn't bother telling you. Yeah, they didn't bother telling you who it was, but it's supposed to be a character called Kang the Conqueror from the comics.
Okay.
There's nothing like that at all.
And woman Loki kicked real Loki's ass in the fight, didn't she? So he got his ass kicked on every episode.
Wow.
It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
That's what you want in a super. Well, I guess a superhero in this case, or an anti-hero. But I mean, it's like that. You really want to see your leading man sort of get eviscerated every episode.
Do you know what I was thinking today? Right, if this was reversed and they made a Wonder Woman film, what would happen is Wonder Woman would appear in the first 15 minutes of the film, then she'll get killed, and then Steve Trevor would take on her role, and then be the hero at the end.
Can you imagine if Wonder Woman got repeatedly kicked in the conge? I mean, can you imagine that?
People would be getting canceled. People would be getting fired.
Yeah.
It would be headline news.
And maybe rightly so. So why is it okay in this case?
There could be a goddamn nuclear attack, and the front page story would be Wonder Woman beat by a man.
Yeah.
But it didn't go amiss on me. The first Wonder Woman film was her literally defeating masculinity, wasn't it?
No, I did like the first one. I thought the first one.
Yeah, but I mean, the villain was the god of war, right?
Yes.
It was like Mars or Ares. It's all the same thing, isn't it? It's the epitome of masculinity. So it really was, the embodiment of masculinity.
Yeah, I think I really like the first one. Yes, you're kind of right towards the ending, but the whole of the film was really well. I mean, there was a tribute to Superman the movie in there as well. Do you remember when she saves Steve Trevor in the corridor where there's ghosts? I thought it was very well made.
Oh, I like the first.
I like the first one. First one, especially
second film, not so much.
yeah. Second film's absolute nonsense. But
I was like watching it. I was like, when is Wonder Woman going to show up? It was like an hour in. There was no Wonder Woman.
I want the drinker. I want the drinker to do that Wonder Woman version that I said. I want him to reconstruct the script so that Wonder Woman dies in the first 15 minutes. Then Steve Trevor becomes the hero towards the ending. just like He-Man, Master
He-Man, yeah.
Yeah,
Or,
I wanted
can't
to
say
do that.
He-Man anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever. But
it's
anyway.
problematic.
I got through the first episode and I thought, well, this is as good as it's going to get. And then someone on Twitter did a brilliant Photoshop job, but they removed the funny hair thing. Just removed the funny hair that side, and it gave a buzz cut, like a complete buzz cut, and it just looked like a dude.
Yeah,
it just looked like a dude.
I mean, I really don't know. I watched, after watching Loki, because I've been on streams. I was on Keith's stream about Loki, and I had a bit of a disagreement with one of the people that liked it there, but it wasn't a heated disagreement. It's whatever, right? But after I watched Loki, I felt so upset I had to watch Avengers Assemble to see if Loki was the same Loki that was in the TV show. And you know what? He wasn't.
Surprise! Subverted.
Surprise.
Expectations.
Well, before we go into that, how many people had the same experience that I did? Because it was Ian who suggested watch Avengers before watching this, and to be honest, I got so fucking depressed because I'm pretty sure I saw that on my birthday 9 years ago.
Yeah,
and it just like. This used to be so awesome.
Yeah.
And then I followed up with Loki, but I'm like, my God.
Things used to be
so good.
You're not allowed to have fun things anymore.
No. It's not the same character.
Do you remember the scene where in the streets of New York, and had that shot where all the heroes are there and the camera goes around them? Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
In Avengers Assemble, which is called in England. But things like that. When I was watching it, I was like, oh God, yes, it's Marvel come to life. This is what I want to see. All these heroes in one place. That kind of excitement. You don't get that kind of excitement with the new stuff they're doing now. You just don't get that kind of stuff anymore. And it's sad. In my opinion, it's very, very sad.
Before Loki dropped that first episode, Ian, they put out something called Marvel Studios Legends. Right. Which is like a 10, 15-minute puff piece. They've been putting out various episodes of it all year.
Yeah,
different shows on one.
I actually can't bring myself to watch it. I'm like, because I know what it's going to be. It's all going to be blowing smoke up each other's asses and talking about the diversity of things. But Dan, I'm assuming you've watched them.
Well, with this one, I've only watched the Loki one because I wanted to see and remind myself of the journey of the character. As you said, what he was like in Avengers and the various other appearances. It's kind of like a greatest hits package. So there are no talking heads on there. There are no actors talking about the role. It's all footage called from previous movies, stitched together to remind you of where the character started and his various stages of development up to then. And he hadn't really. He had developed and he hadn't. They put him through various things. They'd even killed him, but he still had remained the same character. He'd remained an anti-hero, somebody who couldn't be trusted.
Yeah,
and who was mischievous and always looking for the next way to score whatever was up for grabs.
Yeah.
And so when you compare that, I'd say that, I mean, he's different by the time we see him in episode 1 of Loki, but by episode 6, not only is he different, but he's, as you quite rightly said, he's barely in it, doesn't say anything of any real consequence. Tom Hiddleston, this charismatic actor that most people would pay to see in virtually anything, he looks desperately bored. I won't even say by the end of episode 6, I'd say by about halfway through, it's as if he's just repeating lines.
Well, the one thing that I'm kind of wondering, when was this show originally conceived? How many years ago? Does anybody know? I'm assuming it was probably 3 or 4.
It's a while. I think it was when they first mooted the idea of the Disney Plus streaming platform. I think a Loki show was the very first format that I'm sure it was the first format I heard about, way before a WandaVision prospect.
But why did they pick Loki though? I mean, there's so many other heroes.
It's I think because he's a popular. Like I've considered him a more comic relief character, one of the lighter MCU characters. But one thing that just occurred to me throughout this whole thing, which is why I was wondering, how long ago this was conceived, I felt with the new diversity and white dudes are crap and everything else is God thing that we're going with. It seemed to me like they were in a situation where, oh my God, we've got a show and we're committed to this show with a white male lead. And it's like this whole show was trying to undermine this concept that they'd back themselves into a corner with, where it's like, my God, okay, we can't have a white male character. We have to fix this. So that's what this whole thing, those whole 6 god-awful episodes felt like to me. Where literally it's like we're stuck with this and doing everything they could to undermine the white male character.
Then why do it at all? I mean, why not just create like with the Falcon of the Winter, you just focus on one of the more minority characters and build them up. I mean, I'm sorry if that character just happens to be a white male, but he's a popular character. But there's no need to admonish him, reduce him in stature to boost the other characters around him. Just write them as better characters.
Well, keep in mind they also maybe it was symbolically, but they also neutered the Tesseract and the Infinity Stones in this.
Yeah, but they must have been thinking about it when they conceived Endgame.
Yeah,
because you have that scene in Endgame where he picks up the Tesseract and he disappears. So they must have. That's probably when they conceived it, or before Endgame. They had to have that scene in Endgame to line it up with the show, because that's how he gets there, doesn't he? With the Tesseract. So that's probably when they thought about it. So anyway,
the Loki zone.
Hello.
Hi. So Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. Hello, my friend. Welcome.
Thank you.
To my first live stream in a year and a half. So here's the thing that we also do here is we really they're trying again. Never mind. But we welcome different views. So Noel, I've heard not so subtly that you may have liked Loki.
I did indeed, yeah. I'll start. I just want to actually continue on the point that Dan was making, because he was making a very good point. But to kind of bring it back, during the movies, we see Loki the way he is, right? And then by the time we get to the last movie, right, you're saying, well, he's a different Loki. Well, of course he's a different Loki, because he's gone through some traumatic things in his life that would change a person. Your character is not going to stay the same. And we're talking about how he's being beaten up all the time. Well, his powers were taken away from him, so he wasn't a demigod. He couldn't defend himself the way he'd normally be able to defend himself. Also, I found it highly enjoyable. I like the different Lokis. For me, the way I see it is a Sylvie, that the female version of Loki, is actually what Loki was like when we first met Loki in the MCU. She's the mirror version of him, and we're seeing our Loki. We're seeing what happened during all the events of the movies and how that's affected him. So it's kind of like a redemption arc for Loki, and she's the mirror version of him. She's everything that he despises about himself. That was the whole point of the show. Now, maybe some people don't like that, because to some people it's another white male character being stripped down, but I thought they did it very cleverly. And I do like the multiverse, and I do like the variants. I liked everything about it, to be quite honest. I've been kind of baffled by all the hate, to be quite honest with you.
It's not hate.
From
me, anyway.
It's frustration.
It's frustration.
I have seen genuine hate, and I'm just baffled by it. I think it's a decent show. I really do.
What's your first point, by the way? The first thing that you said, mate, because it, like, for instance, you said that we've seen Loki, but the thing is, Loki was taken when he was in Avengers Assemble. So basically, he is not the character that gets killed in Infinity War. Was it Infinity War, whatever? So he's basically the character that was in Avengers Assemble, which was this horrible, person, and he killed Coulson. That's the point that he was at. Also, the fact that the bit in the shop, You know, when they went to the shop and they were on Earth, he had his full powers with him because he made the rain disappear from him, and because he's back on Earth, he had his powers back. But when he had to fight in that supermarket, he didn't use any of it. He threw a Hoover at someone. You know what I mean? He didn't change into somebody else or zap the guy, whatever, like all the powers that he had in Avengers Assemble. He threw a Hoover at someone.
Right? Side note, something that actually really pissed me off about that whole sequence. So this is supposed to be 30 some odd years in the future.
Yeah.
Every product in that store was from 2021. Sorry, that irked the living hell out of me. It's
thoughtless.
But that's
carry
what I'm saying,
on.
Noel. That's what I'm saying, Noel. You know, I think you missed these points. He had his full powers there, and yet he didn't demonstrate them. A big fat, big guy with a beard beat him up. And if he was the same Loki like he was in the Avengers, he would have just decimated that guy. He stuck a spear.
Yeah, but he's
through
not
Cole.
the same Loki because events have changed them.
No. He is the Loki that was in the Avengers Assemble. They've turned him into that because of whatever. But anyway, you know, we have to agree to disagree here. But you know, I see.
Well, I just came on to throw my 2 cents in. I like the show.
That's why like I said, debates and arguments are. I believe it or not, I encourage that kind of thing.
Fine,
but I think that there may have been an attempt at an arc through this.
That's
maybe,
and
I think in some ways Noel has a point with the redemption thing. I think what we're saying is it was very badly handled. Yep. And now from our opinion, but I wouldn't say that anybody here really hates the show, to be honest. Until I watched it, I had no opinion on it whatsoever. I just didn't want to watch it. What I was disappointed. I think that's the feeling that, and you know, there are some people that love Scott. There's some people that love Masters of the Universe. Oh, I don't know why. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hearing horrible things about that. But yeah, where was I going with that? Somebody take over.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's definitely disappointing, and it's immensely frustrating. We made a couple of videos on the early episodes, didn't we? And we had a minor disagreement on it because I kind of believed to some degree what you're saying, Noel, and I believe that I accept that what Ian is saying is right, and the character isn't the same Loki as we saw in the films. But do I really want to continue watching the same character remain exactly the same in successive films and or TV shows? I don't. I want the character to change and to grow and evolve. But it's a very fine line. But when you do that, before you change them so unrecognizably that the viewer forgets why they're there in the first place, and if that's the title character, it's even more so. And I think if you are going to develop a character and to take him on that arc, the arc has to have some kind of shape to it. And by the time you get to episode 6, where Loki seemed even less present than he'd been throughout the rest of the show, there should have been something about that final episode that affirmed that the Loki that we knew and that we recognized, that we turned up for in the first place, was still there, was still the focus, and there was going to be enough there to keep us waiting for that season 2, because season 2 is on the way, and all we got was that caption up there. Whereas how I felt was that Loki disappeared. The longer the show went on throughout the 6 episodes, Loki had less and less to do in it.
Yeah. And
so I feel like I've got less and less reason to tune in for season 2, because this guy, it's played by the same bloke. The characters, the name's the same, but it's not the character. It's not the dynamic that I turned up for in the first place. And therefore I've got no real interest, because the female character that's effectively there in his place, and I think you're kind of right about what they've tried to do with that, but it feels so unearned. She never earned that place in our affections. The character, the girl who's playing her, the woman who's playing her, she's kind of okay, but she's simply not good enough to match Tom Hiddleston in terms of charisma. I said this before. I was on the Rabbi show last week, and I said they should have cast a Ruth Wilson kind of actress in that role, somebody who's got real weight, who feels dangerous, not somebody who just looks like a soccer mom who's just had her parking space stolen.
I think you need to look at it in the terms of if the main character is clearly sidelined, not just through one episode, but through all the episodes, and is diminished.
That's the right word. Yeah.
You're disempowering him. Okay, if you're doing that, you do it for a reason, and the reason must be for some form of growth at the end of it. And that must be a sort of journey. Now, I haven't watched it, so I think that the most important thing would be the motivation for doing so. And if it doesn't have a reason behind it, and a reason that has a logic, an internal logic that you can follow along, that doesn't alienate the audience or doesn't disconnect you from your main hero or anti-hero.
The example that I gave last night, actually talking about Masters, and I'm going to give it now talking about this, which is exactly what you've said, is Superman 2. What they put Clark and Superman through in that film, he gets depowered. He goes through a serious traumatic event where everybody he cares about is put, the people who he spent years of his life at that point protecting and sworn to protect, and the people closest to him in life are put in danger, and he goes through a trial to both a physical and a mental trial to basically to retrieve, to earn those powers back, and then return and put things right. And the version, even though we see Clark as Superman again at the end of Superman 2, and he looks like the same man, he's not the same man. He has been changed by that, and therefore, when he kisses Lois and wipes her memory of the entire thing, of course, he retains the memories and he's changed. There's that tragedy in there. We feel like we've gone on the journey with him. There's power to it, and that's what I mean when I talk about shape. That's pathos.
I'll give you an example.
It's superficial.
I'll give you an example, Noel. I'll give you an example. So, say for instance, you're watching Columbo. Right, everybody knows Columbo. Everybody loves Columbo. I love Columbo. Right,
I hate Columbo.
Okay, right. You hate Columbo.
You're really surprised by that. I thought that'd be right up your street.
No.
Okay, right. So say you're watching Columbo, right, and Columbus, they've given Columbo a partner, right, and all the way through this partner is like he's discovering all the clues, right, all the way through the episode, and Columbo's stumbling around, and this guy's going, oh yeah, so and so, and Columbo's going, oh wow, and at the ending, right. This other partner of Columbo solves the crime. End of episode.
Yeah, Kate Mulgrew as Mrs. Columbo comes in through the fire exit and says, you guys have got it all wrong. You men don't know anything.
Oh, and while we're doing this,
what they did to Loki.
We have a surprise guest that just dropped in. I don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is. I've
anybody's
never
ever
heard of him
before.
Nah.
How the hell did I end up here?
Somebody pass that man another drink.
No.
Have you just woken up in a central reservation somewhere, drinker?
Nah, it'll be fine.
Welcome, my friend. Welcome.
Good man.
Can I ask Critical one question? Do you still have my song as your ringtone?
What, the Ocean Man?
Yeah.
No, I've switched out for something else, but it was glorious while I had it. It was stuck in my head for weeks, honestly, man.
You're going to tell us we've got our heads up our asses about this Loki show, aren't you, mate?
No, not really.
I think Drinker loved this show. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I never wanted it to end, honestly. I wish it had been 20 episodes. Yeah, it was just, it was pretty much what you'd expect from Marvel these days, really. All your usual garbage shoved in there. And it's such a shame because it's such a waste of a really talented cast.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yep.
Well, Hiddleston.
When you look at it, I think
got Richard E. Grant as well.
Richard E. Grant is phenomenal in everything.
Good. He was very Richard E. Grant in it, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you've got Owen Wilson being Owen Wilson, but that's fun as well. So
but this time he's got a moustache, so it's different.
Yeah.
I was in a film with
blonde
him.
hair. Well, actually,
I was in a film with Owen Wilson, and I'll just say he wasn't very pleasant to some of the cast, the extras. I have to say.
Nice.
I won't say anything more.
Nice.
Screw you, Owen.
Hollywood, all the way through.
Did you call him Funny Nose. Did you call him Funny Nose when he was
Should've
insulting
done.
you? You should have done.
I tell
He
you
went
who,
after the girl. He was like, "What? Where's so and so?" She's like, shrugged at him because she didn't know, and then he had a go at her for not knowing. It was just really bizarre. It's like, what the hell?
Oh dear.
I tell you who did interest me in this: Gugu McGaffey Raw, who played Martha's sister in Doctor Who. She plays
she was
Owen
very
Wilson's.
cool.
She plays Owen Wilson's gaffer in this, and again, very very pretty girl. And I've seen her in other things be quite good, but in this, she just seemed like the part was way too big for her. Am I being cruel?
She kind of she came across as really flat and quite monotone a lot of the time, and I just absolutely didn't care about the character.
Oh.
You know, watching it, there's obviously these hints that her and Owen Wilson have got a relationship. I didn't particularly care.
But it's baffling, isn't it? Because we don't see any mechanics to it at all. She's quite snarky to him too, and he's very sort of yes, ma'am, no.
Yeah,
ma'am.
I mean, there's always like right from the start when he's approaching the bench when she's being a judge, and he's like, I'm below you. That feels right, but I really respect you. It's like, okay, we get it, dude. She's really great, and you respect her. Awesome.
You do wonder if he's cracking one off behind the counter there. Don't you?
Validation.
100%.
Validation. Validation.
And then later on, when he tries to take her out with one of those pruning sticks, and like it's the clumsiest fight scene ever, and she just immediately kicks his ass, and he's like, "Yeah, I knew you would do that." And it's like, why? No, this is crap. And then she just leaves. She just walks out the show, and then you don't know where she's gone or why.
You forget she's there, and then she reappears again. You go, oh yeah, it's her.
It's the same thing that happens in Doctor Who. Like, here comes a convenient character for the plot. Oh, we've dispensed with them now. They sort of just meander off set.
There is a lot of that. You could define this entire show as people appear and then just disappear for no apparent reason, then occasionally reappear. And this includes the supposed star of the show, as we found out. He's not actually the star of the show.
He's a secondary character in his own story. Yeah. And I was on EFAT last night, and we were talking about this at great length. But there's there's so many scenes where female Loki will be like striding purposefully towards whatever objective she's doing, and our Loki will just be buzzing around her like a fly, like, oh, what's going on? What are we doing? Oh, please pay me attention. And she'll just say like, shut up, and then just carry on.
This will be like going to see. This will be like going to see Macbeth, right? And then seeing Lady Macbeth going into battle at the end. It's just, and then Macbeth kills himself because he can't handle it. I mean, that's pretty much what we're seeing.
I'm surprised.
The way they frame it, it's always the same, and it's the way stories have to be told nowadays. Like, it's one of the rules about it. Like, you've always got to show the girl being in charge and being smarter than the guy and all that sort of stuff. But it becomes a real, like, it's like tying your hand behind a person's back and then expecting them to go into a boxing match. Like, you're really crippling their ability to tell a good story.
When your lead doesn't have any agency, there's no investment in that character.
Well, that's why I go with my theory, as this was conceived years ago, and it wouldn't happen now, but they'd locked themselves into a corner with the show with the white male lead, and this was the only way they could go about doing it. And I think, Dricker, it was a tweet that you put out last week, which kind of made sense. Anything made before 2015 would not be made today.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah. No, I think right. Look, you can tell this is where the MCU is going. A lot of people deny it. If it wasn't going that way, they'll be announcing we're making Fantastic Four. What are they making now? Shang-Chi, which is a minor character. What's that? Eternals that nobody's ever heard of. I never heard. Well,
that looks.
I did. That's one of the worst trailers I've ever seen.
Toenails.
Yeah, I told with that.
I had no clue who anyone was. There's no antagonist. There's no hint really of what's going on.
It was grey and flat and boring looking. I mean, there was just like, oh, look, a big spaceship thing, and oh, look, a bunch of people standing in the line.
Yeah, it's like even the spaceship is literally just a triangle. It's like, what's the simplest thing we can render on like?
But you know what, right?
Paint? A triangle, that'll do.
The fans would lose their mind if they announce we're making Fantastic Four and X-Men. They'd lose their minds, but they're not going to give us what we want, and that's why that's how you know
Doctor Doom would be a girl.
This very much, I mean, Phase 4 really feels like a holdover phase while they get the important stuff set up for the next phase. So yeah, that'll be when you get the X-Men brought in. That's when you'll get Fantastic Four. Apparently they're going to be doing Blades. I don't know how they're going to possibly square that with the MCU. They're apparently talking about bringing Deadpool into the MCU. Again, you can't do these characters with like a PG-13 rating. They've got
if they were confident about how to handle him, they would have done it by now. That film would have already been shooting.
Well, here's the thing that I've been thinking of I watched Endgame again recently. And this kind of goes to the point that I'm making now. Actually, it's only 2 years old. It already seems horrifically dated.
In what way?
I think the era of the superhero.
Yeah.
The superhero movie, to use a term that might get me in trouble with YouTube, it climaxed with Endgame. It was like this was the culmination of what we've been building up to for a decade. And everything since then, at this point, seems like an afterthought. And I think the evidence at this point is clear that the heyday of the MCU, it's done. Like
it's ran out of steam, actually.
Yeah, you climaxed with Endgame, but if you look at what's coming out in Black Widow, you can use every excuse in the book, but Black Widow has not performed well. And I think that the saddest thing that I saw was the best thing they could say about Black Widow on release weekend was it set a COOF era. It set a COOF era record for highest opening weekend. Really. So the best thing that you can say is your movie performed well during a 2-year period where there were no movies.
Yeah, it's up against like 2 or 3 other films that have trickled out.
They got beat by having it on streaming platform as well as having it out in the cinema. Then they did that as well, though.
Well, I think even with and Disney Plus, it's a goddamn ripoff. I'm not paying $30 to watch a movie stream for 24 hours or whatever that is.
Disney Plus instead of just releasing it in the cinema.
Well, no, but Disney Plus, it's similar to the cost of what it is to.
Here is what it's like. It's the equivalent of a woman with a penis winning the weightlifting championship.
Terrible. You know what? I went to see Black Widow, and the only thing I enjoyed was my popcorn. Really, it was terrible.
I was pretty bored.
It was awful.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty bad. Haven't watched it all yet. But
it starts out promising. The first, the first 10, 15 minutes are decent, and you think, wow, this is actually all right. It's going down the same road as Winter Soldier. It's very spy-y, espionage-y, quite hard hitting, and then it just becomes a goofy, campy bit of nonsense.
But why did Black Widow, when she was a kid, have blue hair? I never understood that. I was
because they needed to have a Ren famous insert.
Ren famous, yeah.
I honestly was surprised she didn't have it shaved down one side
and have eyebrows like Tina's, which are like
a nose ring.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea of the Black Widow movie for me right now, it just seems like a bad idea in terms of how they placed them. Like you have a franchise that hit its peak 2 years ago. And now, obviously, it's been delayed by what is it, a year and a half now? But even
a movie before Wonder Woman, she should have done a movie before.
Well, the placement makes no sense. They should have done this movie back in phase 2 was the time to do a Black Widow movie. Maybe phase 3, but you have a movie coming out about a character. Spoilers, but I'm sure you know this was killed 2 years ago.
But the ideal time to do it would have been in the wake of Winter Soldier. I think that's when she really came into her own as a character. You got to see so much more of her. You really felt that she could command a lot of attention by herself. And that would have been an ideal time to do it. Like you say, now it was a waste. The time had passed. She was already dead. Interest in the character was waning. I've always had this opinion that this movie was slated to come out when it should have come out after or before Infinity War, but they punted it in favor of Captain Marvel, so they could get that out instead.
That's the movie I meant. Yeah, Brie Larson.
Because Captain Marvel is supposed to be the new Iron Man.
Yeah, you know, at the ending of Black Widow, I think Drinker's seen it. The end of the Black Widow where Julia Dreyfus turns up and speaks to Mrs. Pugh. And she says, she says to her, "This is your next assignment," and it's Hawkeye. And I was thinking, oh no, Hawkeye wouldn't be allowed to punch her or hit her. Or, do you know what I mean? When they confront each other.
What will happen? I guarantee what will happen. Right? She will storm in. She will beat him to submission within the first 30 seconds. He will beg for his life, and then they'll have to work together to combat some bigger threat. I guarantee it. Like you say, there's no way he's going to have some cat and mouse game where he gets one over on her.
Or Hawkeye will be a woman.
Well, that is happening. We're getting Kate Bishop, who's
she is,
Hawkeye's daughter. She's the lead of the Hawkeye TV show. So, we can't have those.
Remember, we've got the multiverse now, so everybody's going to be a woman.
So, I mean, I guess what they're doing is they're setting up Kang the Conqueror as like the new Thanos, and that's the whole point of Loki. But in terms of whether that's an interesting character on par with Thanos, no, he's just a clown. You know, when you see him, he's standing there eating his apple and dancing around his office. Like, this guy is not Thanos. This guy is not intimidating. And so, it's never going to equal what they've done so far. And like you said, Bowles Trick, you know, this is something that was building up for 10 years, laying the groundwork and really setting the scene for this Infinity Saga, and really taking their time with it. And now you're never going to recapture that level of interest. You're never going to get that momentum back again. And I think a lot of people are of the same opinion that, you know, we got to Endgame. That was the big blowout. And it was great. It was an epic finale, and we're done now. And we're kind of satisfied. And everything that's come after it just feels like superfluous. I know Black Widow was kind of an odd one because, it was a holdover from a different era that should have come out earlier. But
it's a bit like being in a. Sorry, I was just going to say it's a bit like being at the nightclub and the lights have just come up and the music's still kind of going.
I likened it to, it's like when you've completed a game and it lets you just carry on playing after the end of the story mode, where you're just like free to wander around the world and just do whatever. And it feels like that. There's no real purpose to it now. And I'm sure they're going to keep churning out more movies, and they'll keep doing it until they stop making money, and that's going to take a long time because they are just popcorn movies that you don't have to think too much about.
And when you look at that list of everything that's coming during Phase 4, it does seem quite scattershot. And maybe treading water is not quite the right expression, but what you were just saying there about what about Phase 4, as if they're sort of trying to keep us busy until they decide what Phase 5 is going to be like.
Yeah, but I used to call him Shang-Chi when I was a kid. I thought his name was Shang-Chi. Is it Shang-Chi? Is it Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi, I think. Everyone calls it Shang-Chi.
Oh, no, I used to call it Shang-Chi when I was reading the comics. Because I thought it was pronounced that way. But going back to Shang-Chi, you know, the guy that they've cast, he doesn't look like a hero at all. He looks like someone that's come out of soap or something. And then I saw the trailer, right? And the kung fu wasn't very good. I mean, if you look at Jet Li and Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, martial arts is an art. This show is about martial arts, kung fu. Do you know what I mean?
And people get genuinely hurt practicing that, don't they? You know, like this is sort of a fantasy version of it, really, where people sort of kind of get kicked but don't.
There's a lot of very obvious wire work, so it's very much Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sort of territory. I imagine they can manipulate reality around them or something, so they can fly through the air and do all kinds of crazy maneuvers that are not physically possible.
Have some of those still shots where they got the lights going past, like in the manga cartoons.
Yeah, and it's I'm sure it's all going to look very technically impressive because you can do pretty much anything with CGI now, but like it just doesn't really float my boat.
No,
you know, there's plenty of great martial arts movies out there if you want that, which are done with practical effects and are way more impressive.
Yeah.
So I was up for that, and then you see the trailer, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but it still has that homogenized look to it.
Yeah, that's just Marvel. You know, they've got their filmmaking technique just down to an assembly line at this point, and you know, as much as they might cover different characters or different locations or whatever, they've all got the same basic look to them, and it's just that's their style. Like they've got the like generic stuff all locked in, and all the nuts and bolts are already in place, and they just have to plug in one specific story and put it through the machine, and you get another movie at the end of it.
Bobby says it's Shong, pronounced Shong.
Is it Shong?
Shang-Chi.
How long do you guys think it'll be before? Will normies continue hanging over the folding stuff for this over and over and over again? That's what I keep wondering.
Not like it will never see another MCU. It doesn't matter what property it is. Nothing is going to rise to those levels again. But I don't. It's to me, it just feels like it was a trend that was big for a while, and it's a trend that's over. It's kind of like, you've got your band. The band will have maybe 3 good albums. They hit their peak maybe with album number 4, and then you get sick of the band because the band is everywhere.
It's the fashionistas who've moved in.
You're tired. And
it's
then
the fashionistas that have moved in and squatted over. If they want to talk about colonialism, right? This is it. It's a fashionista colonialism, right? They've squatted on all these propriety pieces of intellectual property, and it's ours now because it's super trendy. And
the problem they have is that I think the trend's over.
No, I don't think it's ever going to end completely. It's not going to be some spectacular blowout or anything. But I think what you're just going to see is a slow decline.
Yeah.
I think you've got that combination of you've lost most of your big characters and the big actors that were really popular. Iron Man's gone, Captain America's gone, Thor's probably going to be gone soon, Black Widow's gone. So most of the main ones are out now. The movies that they've got lined up are not inspiring, and the fact that they're working more and more politics into their movies is just going to push more people away as well. So I think you'll just see a gradual decline as people just gradually lose interest in these, and they're doing it to themselves. Really, they're not doing themselves any favors. But it was fun while it lasted. Speaking of which, I can't. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to shoot off, man. I'd like to be able to stay longer. I've got a few things I've got to do tonight.
No worries.
But I wanted to pop in, Bolstrick, and just say, it's good to see you back on and doing stuff on YouTube again. Because when I started live streaming, I think you were the very first guest that I ever had on. So I'm very grateful for that.
No, actually, that was awesome. No, that was probably one of my proudest moments in my years on YouTube. But man, thank you very much for stopping by, and we must chat at length again sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely, it'd be my pleasure.
No worries. Take it easy, drinker.
Great stuff.
Good to see you.
Go away now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go away now.
Take care, my friend.
Thanks,
See
guys.
you later. Ta-da.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, and we'll go for probably another 50 minutes to go to my original 2-hour mark. But I think what I was saying is right now the MCU, it's, to use my band analogy, so this is after they've been big. People are sick of them. Then they always come out with that album, which is delayed. The album was supposed to come out in a year, but now the album has come out 3 years later. They've changed singers. It's overproduced. The band has decided to get political. The music is just throwing shit together on an instrument to see what happens. And people are sick of it. But that one album, some of them might still buy it thinking, oh, this might still be good. But then you listen to the album and you're like, my God, this is shit. But some people who are diehards may try and convince themselves that, I still like this band. No, you don't, man. It's like the later Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne albums. No, they're crap. It's like whatever it was called, the one that they wrote and recorded in a weekend. I'm comparing it to that. It was I can't even remember what the name was, but it's like that. So
it's a cognitive bias.
Yeah, it's it's desperation. But cognitive bias would be a good way of putting it. It's like we want to convince ourselves that this is good, like how I tried to convince myself for 7 years that Star Trek Voyager was good, and then finally had to accept reality. But that's a whole other stream. But
hypnosis is the.
What we're about to see is, so they've got this album out. The album is shit. Nobody wants to buy the album. They've got Yoko Ono yodeling and God knows what else. But people are still in denial. But what we are about to see in a few years with the MCU, with that Shang-Chi, whatever it's called.
Shite.
But that's going to be the album that follows this one, where they wait another 3 years. By this point, they're fat and bloated. Nobody even knows who they are anymore. That's where they're going. And then
it started off Led Zeppelin, then it went U2, and now we've got Coldplay.
I would say, it's they're U2. U2, for those of us that are old, it used to be one of the best. They were one of the best bands around at one point.
Music that mattered.
But then their last good album was 2004. Then they tried to give away that free album, which was terrible. So that's where we're at right now. We're U2 circa 2021. I don't even know if they put out any albums. Nobody cares. So yeah, they're going to become U2. Once great, then fat and bloated and preachy.
Thing is, I really wanted the the Marvel to work. I wanted it to work. I wanted the TV shows to work, but every show that came out, I just can't not see what they're doing. And now I'm up to the point where, you know what, I'm not watching anything from them anymore now.
Scary thing is, Ian, that the worst is probably to come.
Brian Schiller just came up with the perfect analogy for my example. Marvel has reached the Chinese democracy phase. You waited 10 years for something to come out, and it hurt my ears. It was shit. So yeah, okay. So the Marvel is now Chinese democracy. For anybody that doesn't know, once upon a time there was this band called Guns N' Roses. They were awesome. Then they put out Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, which was still good but experimental. Then they disappeared for 17 years, and Axel, who's a little bit fat now, but Axel spent years working on this album, Chinese Democracy. And if you actually read the liner notes, not everything was even written and recorded in the same decade. But that's where the MCU is headed. The Shang-Chi shit is going to be the Chinese Democracy.
Mm. Got rejected though from China, didn't it? The film, apparently.
Did it?
Yeah, because they made the film to actually appease China so they can get it in the cinemas, but they think they've rejected it, haven't they? They've rejected it on some grounds. I can't remember. Can't remember. So waste of money then. That's all I can say. So yeah. I do want it to work though. I do want the MCU to work, but
I would like it to to use the music analogy again. I would like it to go away. But then come back recharged and give us something good again.
Fantastic Four. Give us Fantastic Four, and don't make any of them black. I'm not white, so I can say that. Don't make any of them black. Please keep them the way they are in the comics.
Don't make any of them gay. I can say that. I'm sure they'll say don't make them Irish.
Exactly.
They should be building those corners to the Marvel universe.
No, man, make them Canadian.
On TV. Alpha Flight as a TV show, I would have loved that. Fantastic characters. They could have built up whoever is going to be Wolverine in the MCU later. They could have started that story on TV, but so far I was surprised to see Loki confirmed for a season 2 so quickly. Apparently, Kate Herron.
Apparently, it was before it even aired.
Apparently, Kate Herron isn't involved at all. So she's the activist writer, remember, who only boarded Loki because of the opportunity to tell her story about being bisexual. So now she's told her story, the only story that wokists ever tell. She's off, so she won't be involved in season 2.
How did that actually affect the show? Because he ended up falling in love with himself in the form of the female Loki, right? So, I mean, how is this even relevant? I don't understand.
Who knows? It was enough. She's taken the money. She's gone. We've got Miss Marvel to come, I think, first, and then the Hawkeye show. And the
what exactly do these people have on? I mean, it must be really bad because I can't imagine Hollywood allowing itself to lose so much money unless there's some terrible photos or videos or something that these people have got over them. Because that's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It must be so bad. It must be so bad that they've got loads of things on these top bods. Because otherwise, how on earth would this stuff get greenlit? It doesn't make any sense. at all. Otherwise,
That's
all I have to say.
It's a cult. That's what it is.
I was going to go back to Dan's point on Fantastic Four. So this is Bullstreck's rule for something that you've completely shit the bed on, and then repeatedly you shit, then ate the shit, then puked up on the shit.
No shit.
I'm speaking specifically of Fantastic Four 2015. When you fuck up something that badly, not that longer after it was fucked up, the previous, like, what was it, 7 years after the previous time it had been fucked up. When you fucked up something that badly, it needs to go away for at least a decade. That's Bullstreck's rule of recovering from shit. Unless you're Doctor Who, it can never come back. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, no, for Fantastic Four, 2025 at the earliest. I think anytime before that, it's still too close to the liquid shit.
We had two versions of Fantastic Four. The only character they got right was in the first version.
Oh no, we had three. You're forgetting the Roger Corman.
Yeah, sure.
But all done under the same license.
Yeah, but Chris Evans, who played Johnny Storm, I think that's the only character they got right. I mean, if you read Fantastic Four, Thing is very, very funny. He cracks wise all the time in the comics, and he was the character. When I was reading Fantastic Four, he was the character that I loved so much. The ever-loving blue-eyed Thing, and he was so funny. And you see these films, and he's not even cracking one joke or anything. He's a completely different character. Yeah. So anyway,
and the design of the character as well, and I'm sure Clobby will agree, is that I don't think they've ever quite gotten him right on TV.
I agree.
Or film.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree with you there. It's a shame, really, because it's such a great IP, and if it's done properly, people would love it.
Yep.
But there you go.
It's too pure, I think, for them to be able to stand it. I think pure high adventure, family values,
wholesome.
It really is, yeah. And I think that could be. I think they're afraid to handle it, not just because it's failed a couple of times in the past, ultimately, but because it doesn't really fit with today's age without making it completely different from the ground up. They can't even get away with kind of repurposing a lot of it. It's going to be a difficult sell to the people they've convinced themselves that they want as their customer base.
I mean, it's all about family, Fantastic Four, isn't it? Because they're a family, and that's the thing. Sorry, the thing. So yeah, that and to try and do that today.
Oh, sorry, Clobbering Times. I hadn't even noticed that I'd selected you. Hello.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll do Chris Persia.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when you're away for a while. You don't know how things work, and then you're just randomly putting stuff up. I've had many boomer moments during this.
You're doing all right. Listen, I mean, it's your first stream in a year, so I think we can cut you some slack.
If they've done 2 Fantastic Four movies and screwed them up, why are people convinced that they would be able to get a third one right?
Because I don't think they've ever done well, I actually can't speak for the Corman one, but I don't think they ever done the other 2 properly. They kind of. I think if you're going to do Fantastic Four movie, don't do the origin. Just start off where they actually are the Fantastic Four, and maybe through another movie you'll find out how they whatever, or just like they did when they rebooted Spider-Man. They never went back to see his uncle getting killed, whatever and stuff, because everybody knows the Fantastic Four's origin. But just do it right, cast the right people, get the right director, get a good story in, get Doctor Doom in because everybody loves Doctor Doom. And do it right, but they're never going to do it right because of the politics of today. They're going to make Sue Storm black. They're going to, they're going to change everything about it, So, and they hate blue-eyed, blonde people for some.
And I hate gingers even worse.
Yeah. So that's what's going to happen.
Beyond chance, isn't it? The level of erasure of gingerhead. People in these things. It's just really strange. It's it's amazing. I mean, like poor Damian Lewis must be sweating his ass off thinking I'm never going to get cast in this.
Yeah. I mean, the Batgirl, the new Batgirl film that's coming out. Obviously, Batgirl has red hair, and she's
not anymore.
Yeah, exactly. They cast a Hispanic woman, haven't they, as Batgirl? And so
Gotta
that, does that mean to say,
representation?
yeah, so does that mean to say that Jim Gordon is going to be Hispanic? Because Jim Gordon's dad, right?
Jim Gordon or
Jeffrey Wright is playing her dad in the Batman.
Yeah. So is it connected to that film then, Dan?
We believe so. We were talking about we were talking about that last night on Facebook Live. Everybody, there's the plug.
I wasn't there.
We were talking about that, and we were talking about that a little. And we believe that it is part of the same fictional universe because they are keeping the two. The Matt Reeves movie is now believed to begin an actual Earth 2 Batman storyline on the big screen, and they're keeping Ben Affleck as the Batman of Earth 1 in the Flash movie and whatever else is going forward. So it looks like Ben Affleck will continue playing the Batman.
There we go. Colin says Jaime Gordano.
But Michael Keaton's in that one, isn't he, Dan?
Yeah, he's also playing. He's playing Batman too. Yeah, from another world. Yeah. This is what DC does best. Though.
Yeah, I mean, but it's they've tried to play catch up with Marvel, and that's really let them down. And their entire DC universe is collapsed under its disjointed weight. It's so all over the shop, and it's not.
Well, they had an opportunity to. They did have an opportunity to save it with the Snyder Cut, which I still haven't watched, but almost everybody.
I'd say they succeeded. It's excellent. Yeah.
Well,
and then they decided they're not going that way.
The Snyder Cut is probably. I said this is just my personal opinion. Like they tried to do comic book movies, and let's be honest, they've made them kind of more action based. But this is a proper comic book movie. This wouldn't have worked in a cinema, in my opinion.
Not in that form, no. They would never put it through our film.
It was fantastic. It was. I thought, listen, it's way better than the cut that we got. And you're right, they had an opportunity there to resurrect the DC universe, but they've chose to ignore it because they're a bunch of morons.
The only thing that I found enjoyable in that whole film was the Superman bits. And I think it just goes to prove to me that Cavill deserves another shot.
He does deserve another movie, definitely.
I think Cavill does too.
He chewed that scenery up like no one else.
For me,
he's a good Superman. He's a good Superman.
I think he was
hasn't had the chance to shine that much.
Yeah.
He's had one movie, and then he's had bit parts in other movies. He hasn't had, and then they destroyed his character in Batman versus Superman anyway. So
I don't think they've quite got him right, but I think he deserves a chance to sort of kind of soft reboot the Superman thing, give him a better suit that's a bit brighter, a bit more like.
I don't think they want him as Superman.
No, that's clear, by the fact that they cast, a man of color to play the next Superman, which it's not Superman, and it's Clark Kent. They've made it stipulated it is Clark Kent.
Yeah, they're gonna
not like an alternative universe, and it's just like, come on, just stop, doing.
It was announced yesterday that Michael B. Jordan is working on another Superman adaptation with Calvin Ellis, the actual Black Superman from the comics.
So has that actually been confirmed? Because they've been throwing that around for
yesterday. Michael B. Jordan.
That's fine. That's
what I want to see. Exactly. That's what you want to see. You want to see something like that. If there is that Superman exists. So do that Superman, but also do Henry Cavill Superman. You can have both Superman. It's like as if they don't want to do the two of them. Do the two of them. You will make a shit ton of money. What's the problem? Like they seem like they don't want to make money. Yeah, they're making all the wrong decisions. Snyder Cut was the perfect chance for them to save the whole thing, and they've decided to shit on it. They were plugging the Wheaton Cut. They were plugging the Wheaton Cut while everybody was watching the Snyder Cut. They were plugging the Wheaton Cut
on Netflix. They are,
the contempt they have of Zack Snyder. I don't know what he's done to deserve the treatment that he's got.
Well, look at the success of Superman and Lois. I think it's.
I'll tell you what he's done. I'll tell you what he's done now. He proved them wrong, and that was enough.
Yeah, he did. He did. It was very entertaining, that 4 hours of I sat and I watched all of it all in one day.
Same here.
Yeah, I've decided I haven't watched any of the I haven't watched any review videos on it. I've been spoiled a little bit, but I've decided because I didn't want to pay the insane price for I would have had to buy an add-on to another add-on to a streaming package to get it. So I am gonna pick it up on 4K when it comes out. I think early September.
I hope they fix the aspect ratio, because that really did my head in as well.
Well, we'll see, but I'm gonna watch it and I'll give my honest views on it.
Yeah,
I think it's over bloated. I think there's some good ideas in it. It was definitely better than the original cut, the Whedon cut.
Well, I'm gonna watch both of them back to back. I've never finished the Whedon cut. I have tried twice over the years to start it, and I give up at about the 2/3 part. I can't finish it. But this time I'm actually going to force myself to watch the thing, and it's going to be terrible. But I'm going to watch it all the way through. Then right after that, watch the Snyder cut. And...
The Snyder cut is not perfect, right? It's
there are a few
things in there. Yeah,
no, it's not perfect.
A few things in there that I just thought, what? But it's still better than the Whedon cut, and it was, as far as I was concerned, it was very enjoyable. And
the Flash still looks embarrassing running. I have to
say. He does. But
it's all these hand movements, like he's a ballet dancer or something. It's just
I think the advantage, and I think the Snyder cut is an interesting study because yes, it is technically a 2021 movie, but this was a movie that was filmed 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that difference in terms of how quickly things have shifted towards identity politics within the transition was a matter of months. But I think it's also, for me anyway, it'd be interesting to see what it was like just before that happened and how many things in that movie would not be shot that way today.
Can I just say I have no affiliation with Bowles Trek? Sort of made it absolutely clear.
Dude, nobody wants to have any affiliation with me. But no, with that thing, when I think of it in hindsight, I don't think that was really Snyder's idea. I have a feeling he was forced into that. That's just my read on the situation, given the distance of time. But I still would have just don't say anything at all.
I think I agree with you. I think a lot of actors and a lot of producers and a lot of directors are under pressure now. They're scared to say something. They're scared to speak up. But sooner or later, they are going to speak up and they are going to fight against it. Hopefully within my lifetime.
Well, no, here's what I want. And I've been pushing this for a couple of years now. The end of celebrity. The end of centralization. I'm sick of movies where it has to be, you got your 30 some odd stars at any given time, and every fucking movie has to have one of them. Overblown, very thin plot, current day politics driven bullshit. What I want to see, and Ian will appreciate this, I want to see the rise again of the independent filmmaker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because these 30 people, and maybe 5 of them can actually act at any given time, but there's so much talent out there that nobody ever sees. There are so many talented actors. There are talented filmmakers, and it doesn't cost what it used to make a movie. So that's what I want to see.
But the problem with that is that with everything, money always trumps it. Like, I'll give you an example. When Kevin Smith started out and all the other independent directors started out, the films they made were true independent films. And then Hollywood got wind of it and they started creating these subsections of the studios. So they weren't, so when they started scooping them up, they weren't independent films. Like, for instance, Fox Searchlight. And suddenly Rodriguez is making his first movie with Fox Searchlight. You can't call that independent film if a Hollywood studio is financing it. Do you know what I mean? So that's how they got around that.
Yeah. It's the same as bands as well, like indie bands, and I got like major record labels. Like even the Sex Pistols went signed with Virgin and stuff like that.
It's always money that trumps everything in the end of the day.
Well, when Disney bought Fox, the first thing that they did was dump all the independent film areas of Fox. What was their independent studio called?
Fox Searchlight.
Yeah.
There's a second one, wasn't there? There was.
Don't know.
Kevin Smith's?
No, it was a small arm. I think
not Dogma, was it?
But yeah, whatever it was, the first thing Disney did when they acquired Fox was shut down that studio.
Touchstone.
It was the studio that Touchstone eventually became.
Oh,
but I can't remember what the name was. But yeah, the first thing they did was shut it down, and that's
someone in the chat will know.
Yeah, at some point.
It's always money though that stops things from progressing. If you have enough money, you can buy that section so they can't bother you again, and that's what's happened time and time again. So this is, even if independent films rise, there's no way for them to go. It's only YouTube or Amazon, if Amazon would let them now. So if you hire a distributor, they're going to rip you off. It's a foregone conclusion. So the independent producer, the independent filmmaker has nowhere to go now, but YouTube. That's it. And YouTube doesn't pay. So
YouTube doesn't pay shit. Holy, YouTube used to pay well. YouTube used to pay very well. Now it pays. I don't know how some people manage to make a living off YouTube.
Well, I when I posted when Az posted the Ocean Man song, and I published it, and it got accepted onto iTunes, Amazon, all of these things. Only one platform refused to allow me to monetize, and that was YouTube.
Yeah,
because I'd used some preset sounds, because obviously this was a rush job. I put it out as a charity single, and but my thinking is like, well, if you use a Marshall amp or if you use a violin, you're only going to get one sound, and that's the inbuilt sound of that instrument. So I don't see the difference between that and a digital synthesizer.
Well, they have their reasons.
Well, if anybody
you're still making a melody of your own out of it, but it doesn't seem to count, and that's ridiculous.
Well, if anybody remembers my very old videos, I used to have an intro with music that I recorded myself. I had a few different versions over the years. I had to cut that out. Oh God, must be about 10 years ago now, because I was having monetized. I had YouTube started demonetizing everything for my own music. So,
but that's not as bad as me, Bolstrick. I actually wrote, directed, produced, made a film called Bad Day, and somebody claimed copyright on it.
Did you fight it?
I just couldn't be bothered to fight.
I had someone threatening to do that to me because I dared have an argument with Renfamous, and one of her
she's
fans threatened.
For anybody that doesn't know, she's a lovely person.
Yeah, right.
So kind.
And they threatened to copyright strike my work on my alternative channel with my CGI stuff on there because reasons. I said, is that a threat? It's just like, what is wrong with these people?
Yeah, that's terrible. Listen, I just want to change the subject just slightly. I want to ask Noel what he thought of the trailer for Doctor Who, because he's a huge Doctor Who fan.
Yeah,
Noel, come on, speak up, mate. Come on.
What did I think of the trailer of Doctor Who?
Go on.
Not very much. I'll just say this, right? What I said on my stream. If you are a newcomer and you're looking at that trailer, you wouldn't be inspired.
It was a close-up of a bunch of faces, and look, the new white male companion falls on his face, and no monsters, no anything.
Yeah. There was nothing there for the fans that have even been loyal to this show. Also, he gave 2 promo photos. What a joke! He sat there. He was the questions that they were asked. 3-year-olds could have asked those questions. They were handpicked, definitely, or they wrote them themselves and asked themselves them questions.
Well, one of the people who was gave a question was someone's first name followed by a series of numbers. Every time that happens, that's a bot account.
Chris Chibnall looked like he didn't want to be there. Jodie did make some effort, I have to say, this time round. Even Manny Gill looked like she had a bit of a personality. John Bishop is the highlight for me. I think if his character is handled properly, which it won't be, but he will try his best. He's funny. He was funny at this interview. He was the only bright thing about this interview. The interview was boring. It was sterile, just like the whole show. It's an absolute joke, mate. If it did bad in the ratings this time round, Series 13, no matter what he throws at it, right? And trust me, right? This is the thing, right? This was the startling thing about it. We already know Weeping Angels are coming back. We know the Suntarans are coming back. We've seen photographs. Your woman asked him in the interview, is there anything you'd like to tell us about Series 13? No, I'm telling you. We know these things are out in the public.
They could have showed us that. They could have showed us
nothing away. They were blowing smoke up their own backsides for the whole thing. Talking about how wonderful they were to each other and all of this. It was a joke, mate. That Comic-Con was a joke. The trailer was a joke. And I'm telling you, man, if I can't wait to review Series 13 because it's going to be an absolute shit show. There you go.
Well, like I said, I couldn't even finish it. I got halfway through and I had to turn it off.
No, Brian Schiller asked a very interesting question. Who looks weirder running, Jodie Doctor Who or Ezra Miller Flash?
Jodie Whittaker. Did you ever see her? Did you see her in Series 12 running after
that? If she runs like a duck, it looks like a...
What was a spy fall? Wasn't it? Yeah. See her running after the plane there. Yeah, she runs funny.
The one thing I've noticed about that interview is Jodie laughs like a witch. She laughs. It's weird.
Well, I have to watch that panel ready for Type 40 Live on Tuesday on Facebook. Everybody, Tuesday afternoon on Facebook.
If you want to fall asleep, I would recommend you watching it tonight. I wouldn't watch it during the panel. It's hazardous for your health, mate. I don't know how we got through it, to be quite honest. No, seriously, all joking aside, for the fans that have been, and not the toxic ones, but the fans that have genuinely loved this era were shortchanged today. Yeah. Chris Chibnall just doesn't give a crap. His whole attitude, when the camera panned away from him, his whole facial expression would change. And when he knew the camera was on him, he'd put on this fake smile. He didn't want to be there. You could see
he never cared. That's why the show is so low energy.
And look, Roger Shaw says, I see they are removing all the negative comments on the BBC trailer. I put up 8 negative comments and then were removed within 30 seconds.
I'm amazed the comments were left open in the first place. Yeah. And from what I've seen...
they weren't on Comic-Con. They were the dislikes and everything was shut down. But yeah, have they actually shut down? I go back here. I told them to go get bent. Let me pull up that video.
Yeah, they didn't even have the comments on when they uploaded the video onto the YouTube channel, which was quite telling.
I'm surprised Doctor Who Online hasn't fucking banned me yet.
And here's the thing. People were going through the comments and saying, like, a lot of the comments were negative, but then you go to the like ratio, and the like ratio is up like 3,000, and there's 800 and something that disliked it the last time we checked. But you can clearly see, listen, there was nothing to get excited about that trailer. And genuinely, I went in with an open mind because I wanted to see, will he give us something that will go, wow, I'm looking forward to seeing that. There was nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm just so, do you know what? We expect this from Chris Chibnall, but even I was surprised at how bad this was. This was so bad. Do you know what? Even the lack of promotion, this is going to be a train wreck, and they've only themselves to blame.
Yeah, and after a year and a half off screen with anything tangible, I don't count that last special. This is an opportunity for them to grab new viewers as well. And if I was to see that trailer, it just looks like more of the same, more of the same facial expressions, all the same special effects. They've substituted one northern comedian for another, because they know that people like him. They've been trying to import his personal popularity to bolster up their tired little show.
See, it's always interesting to hear your opinion,
shite.
Noel. Always interesting to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I've watched this whole entire era, like Bowlstrek, and I even this, right? I don't get this, right? I don't know what they're trying to say here, right? But this is blatant in your face now. Like, I don't like. I mean,
I pulled up the logo for reference.
This is Chris Chibnall production team saying we honestly just don't give a crap anymore.
A lot of the comments are actually quite, what is this? There's nothing here. There's nothing, and I can't believe it's still got us over 7,000 likes and only 1,000 dislikes. It doesn't seem right to me at all.
It's manipulated, but what do y'all think of the new logo?
I don't think they'll run with that. I just think that's for the trailer. I don't think that'll actually be.
I have a feeling it may be the logo.
No. I don't think they're gonna. I
Really?
think that intro.
The production team would do that.
No, I think if they did that, in all honesty, they'll completely kill it. They'll kill that. There's no way.
They already turned the Doctor into a diverse flying lost space baby.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah.
If they do that, then I could easily see this being the new logo. Oh yeah, it'll probably be the logo on merchandise too.
It'll probably be the promo logo, but I don't see them using it in the main show. I think they'll stick with the titles that they have. I don't think they'll change anything there.
That involves expense, and I don't think the BBC are going to spend any more money on these titles.
They could just do a hatchet photo job and just here's
it looks slapped together. I mean, it's like the crystal thing in the first one that they did. You know, it was just that was never seen again,
going nowhere.
As it returns later this year, so like I reckon the last 2 weeks in October.
wasn't the Doctor a dog at some point? Probably.
I don't know.
If anything, this graphic should tell us all very, very clearly. It should speak volumes that this is it. Doctor Who is over, and this is the crowning sort of turd in the toilet bowl of it all. The final manifestation of everything that Chris Chibnall's ever lent so hard into since he took that role. This really is all there is to see.
Yeah.
This trailer was pinched off. It was a pinched off trailer.
Listen, he looks tired. He looks worried. He does. Watch his facial expressions in the interview.
Well, could have been better. Could have been better written.
Can you imagine? On the off chance there is some little kid out there who maybe is in the time it's been away, found a little show called Doctor Who on BritBox or whatever, or has found their Big Sisters or Big Brothers DVDs. I thought, oh, Doctor Who, this looks like a fun show about a crazy alien in a box that can go anywhere. I wonder if it's coming back, and finally a trailer appears and they see this. I think, actually, Dancing on Ice is on the other side. I'll stick with that. Yeah, it's not gonna go well. Everybody,
it would be like somebody who's been in a coma since the David Tennant years, and like, oh, you're back. We'll call him Charles. Charles, what do you want to do? Well, I want to see what Doctor Who's doing. Then he gets greeted with this, and then Charles decides to go back into a coma.
Put me back under.
You won't need to choose to go back into go. It'll just take one look at this for
just watch the show
30 seconds, and then you're like, oh, gone.
Well, I'm not going to watch it anyway. I've stopped.
The general feeling I had on the panel was that everybody is just done.
I just don't care. I feel nothing at all. It just washes over me now.
Yeah.
I'm duty bound because as the host of Type 40, did I mention I'm the host of Type 40? As the host of Type 40, I have to compare that. I have to be the anchor for that. But as you may or may not know, both Starry-Eyed Girl and Simon Horton have both bailed. They've politely declined all invitations to return to the show to review those episodes. They're still on the show, but they're going to sit those episodes out. Yeah. People just don't want to watch. There are people out there who are resigned to watching them, but even those people, they don't want to talk about it after the fact. They want to try and forget about it as soon as possible. There are some plucky individuals who volunteered to join the crew to review these. I'm going to say with me, they're going to be reviewing them for me, really, because I'll just do the bit in the middle where
Doctor Who's meant to be for everyone, remember? Doctor Who's supposed to be inclusive. It's supposed to be diverse. Except it's the most elitist look, it's got now the most elitist fan base and production team in the history of the show. It's selective on who it wants as its fan base. It's selective about who they want to be there to watch it, who they don't want to be there to watch it, who they want to be in the cast, who they don't want to be in the cast, who can be involved, who cannot be involved, and they do it silently. It's this complicit, absolute condescension to sneer down their noses at people that they just see as passé, old hat, The old ones, we don't want them anymore. And well, you know what? You get what you're asking for. You've got it. Enjoy it. Because eventually, when you try and appease these maniacs who are currently invested in this, they will turn on you the minute they decide they're not getting what they want. And they're a lot worse than us.
Look at what happened to John Barrowman.
I must apologise, Bolstrek, for opening this subject again. Sorry.
I just say though, I've noticed my journey through this.
That was because I wrote into this.
There's a really funny message. There's a really funny message in the chat here. Unsubbed. Don't need to watch crybaby snowflakes who can't handle change.
Darling. We've been watching the show for over 40 years. We know what the show is about. We know it has change in it, but it's not about change.
Wait. Unsubbed? Why were you subbed to me in the first
place? That's what I couldn't understand.
I was just going to say that when I first started watching Series 11,
if change means it changes to shit, I'm sorry, that's not good enough.
The simple change is, though, Lee, this is a show that's going to go from being a show that is in production to being.
But it has always been political. Yes, we know it's always been political, sweetheart. But it doesn't mean it's good. If you look at what Terrence Dicks actually said when he was writing for the show, he actually said if you focus too much on the politics, you're forgetting about the story. Go look it up on YouTube.
And I don't wish to be cruel here to Jamie. Maybe this is her first time here, but these are real sort of midwit questions here. We've fielded these, with the best will in the world. We have each of us fielded these exact questions. I personally probably dozens, if not over 100 times now. We know the answers to these questions.
Yeah.
We don't want to get Bolstrek's comeback stream bogged down with all this.
Exactly.
Political is not the same as being topical. You cannot compare all those stories back in the past, which had a topical angle with a slight political element to the non-stop beating.
But this is Marxist ideology propaganda. This is not about political.
I'm not getting a word in now.
You would have if it was political.
The last 5 minutes.
If it was political, you would make it so it leaves it to the audience to work things out for themselves, to see both sides of the arguments, and to then come to their own conclusions. This is not what is written. It is written as, this is the lecture. You will sit down, you will absorb, and you will shut up, and you will agree.
Here's my point. Here's my point, if I can just get it across, maybe make Jamie understand, right? When I first started off on this journey, Doctor Who, like a lot of people, it inspired me. It helped me get through the tough times. I fell in love with the characters, right? So then we got to Series 11, right? And for the first time in my life, I was angry. And if you watch my videos over that time, I got angry. But you look at my journey all the way up until this point now, I've gotten to a point where I don't care anymore. That I don't care so much that I'm not angry anymore. All the anger is gone. Chris Chibnall has basically ripped the love of the show that I had. And I tell you, the Timeless Children review that we did was the most heartbreaking thing that I've ever done. It was horrible to see a show that I grew up with being shit on. Now, if you don't get that, that's fine, fair enough. You can call us snowflakes and all these other names. We've heard them all before. The point is, if you're not willing to listen to us, well, then you shouldn't be in here having.
You're a little tin pot dictator.
We are entitled to our opinions, and we've been watching the show a long time, so I think we know what we're talking about in some aspects. To be quite honest with you, we've grew up with this show. I think Dan has actually pointed out exactly the political. You keep bringing it up, but it's always been politics. He's explained it perfectly. Now, if you don't get that,
there were two
we can do for you.
156 original Doctor Who stories. There were two stories that you would call, that you could possibly at stretch say were political stories, and people hated both of them, Jamie. Yep. And I also suggest, again, go and take a couple of minutes and go and look up what the word snowflake actually means. It's not it's not disliking something. You really don't know, but I'd be the best will in the world. You enjoy the show,
argument.
You do not know what you are talking about. I'm sorry, you don't.
Ian was going to say something there.
I'm just going to say, look, Jamie, if you love the show, then God bless you if you love the show. But it's not for us. That's all. I mean, I don't, I don't have anything against you if you like the show. If you love the show, that's great, But for us, it's not for us now, and it's for you now. Okay, so carry on watching.
Well done.
We're entitled to our opinion, though. That's the thing. You've got to understand. Yeah, it might be your show now,
Stunning and brave.
but we're still entitled to our opinions because we've grown up with it, and we're watching it now, and it's hurting us the way we're seeing where it's going. So
these are things that I've answered so many times. I've
gotten over again.
It's like you explain yourself as clearly as you can, and it's like, you know what? That's I don't really humor these people anymore. There's no point. It's talking to a brick wall. The reason I went on Twitter, what was it, 2 years without blocking anyone. I'm like, okay, come up with a coherent argument. It was the same thing over and over again. So now I'm just, you know what? I can't be bothered. Just block.
It is. It's the same. It's the same nonsense. They can't come up with an original to come with us at. At the end of the day, if you like the show, as Ian said, fair play to you. Yeah. You enjoy it, right? You don't need to go and attack fans that don't, or have a go at fans that don't. Unfortunately, this era isn't for us. That's fine, fair enough. But we're still entitled to have our opinions about it. Everybody's entitled to opinions, just like you're entitled to come on here and have your go the way you've had your go. But doesn't this constructive argument why you think this is good and why we're all wrong? Like tonight, I came on to talk about Loki. I gave my point of view, and then all the lads then gave their point of view. That's how it works.
But doesn't this illustrate what I said earlier about the I was talking on Noel's stream the other day about how if the new people who ever come on to take on Doctor Who, whoever that may be, they need to not necessarily listen to the fans, but they need to understand the fans and not to try and think, well, what ideal fans would we like? Because you've got a built-in audience, but if you're focusing solely on replacing that audience with an imaginary new audience, well, I'm sorry, if this is the audience you want to attract, a bunch of people who like to go around trolling people and going, it's not for you anymore, it's ours now. I mean, that really, that's what you want. Is that what you? Doctor used to be for smart, intelligent people, right? Kids who had a brain. And now it seems to me to be marketed towards kids who just like to be facetious as possible.
It's dumbed down, man. It
really is. And if that's the change that you're happy about, all power to you.
I'm going to call it a night, gentlemen.
Actually, I was just about to say that. Yeah, we're going to be closing this off. I swore we were going to go 2 hours, and it's 2.31.
Then you had me on.
So what we'll do, we'll say goodbye to Ian and Dan first, and then we'll cover some super chats, and then that will be it. But
thanks.
We'll give you a chance to plug what you do. So the person who was responsible for roping me into this in the first place, Ian. Plug yourself, my friend.
I made a web series called Rebecca Gold, and for Jamie out there, it's a female lead. It's a female lead. So watch the show. It's really entertaining. It's only 5 episodes, 5 minutes per episode. I've made a lot of feature films as well. Some of them are on the YouTube channel. But if you want to see the feature films I've made, just send me a tweet at Ian David Diaz on Twitter, and I'll send you the link, and you can watch some of my feature films as well. But basically, that's what I do, basically. Anyway, and also, I just like to say it's great to have Noel on, and Problem Being, I think they're great. And, of course, Dan, and thank you for inviting me, Mr. Bostrek.
It's been great seeing you.
It was awesome having you again, my friend. And we will be doing this. I won't go another year and a half before I do another live stream.
Cool.
Yeah. It'll be another 2 years, lads.
Yeah, probably. No, I'm sort of semi-back, but yeah, I'm going to try and do more live streams.
Yes.
So, cool. And Dan, this actually sounds dirty. Plug yourself.
Just the way I'm set.
Give me that little TARDIS console toy, the one that looks like a butt plug.
Have you seen that Bostrek? Have you?
It's an ugly thing.
Oh, you mean that? Oh, that. Yeah, I saw it. You mean that
Eagle Moss.
The toy that came out?
Yeah,
I believe I said.
Moss toy.
I said something nasty about it. I can't remember what it was. I think I just said "fuck off," or I said.
Well, Jason Gallagher says that he's missed Bowles Trek's live streams. Always fun. That's a sweet message, isn't it? But if you want more Doctor Who live streams, come up to the Spacebook channel with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks, and you can get Type 40 live Doctor Who talk for a couple of hours every Tuesday afternoon with a few gaps now and again. There's lots of pictures up on screen, lots of chat, some scurrilous rumours sometimes. There's an On This Day in Doctor Who section, so we have laughs on that the middle of the afternoon every Tuesday. Don't miss that. There's the Type 40 podcast. That's also over there too, along with lots of other Spacebook content about other shows. We do a live stream on a Saturday, most Saturdays, about everything else. That's there. And there's the Teleport Blake 7 podcast too. Yes, I know, Problem B. It's definitely coming back.
Avon
and
lives.
The Hyperdrive podcast I also make with the Rabbi from Another Planet and Ian David Deers. Now, our friend Keith Isles, the sensible one, we rope him into that. So you subscribe to the Spacebook for all that content. There's loads of Doctor Who, but so much else. There's loads of the Mega Geek as well if you enjoyed him. But yes, thanks again, Bowles Trek. Good to see you again, everybody. We'll have to do this again sometime. But good night from me.
Thank you, my friends.
Thank you for watching. Thanks for
Thanks a lot.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Hey, so super chat time. Let's see. I'm so rusty at this. I finally found
You're
it.
doing well. You're doing well.
You are.
No, I am a boomer. I am.
You're younger than me. Stop.
I've gone from being a goddamn tech channel to not being able to internet. Okay, so super chats for $2 Australian from Java Bean. Morning, lads, and yeah, I think it's like 7:30 in the morning Australia time. It's like 5:30 here. Well, good morning, my friend, or
Morning.
I guess it's early evening for me. The trailer was trolling all of us.
Yeah.
It does kind of feel like that, but to be honest, the last 4 years of the shows.
That's one big troll, all right.
And the troll is the fact that it's not a troll. It's terrible. From Dantanian, who has been around for a very long time as well, for £5 British. I knew Doctor Who was in trouble when presenters on goddamn YouTube. Show me the whole thing. There we go. I knew Doctor Who was in trouble when presenters on radio and TV were telling fans to leave without considering their reasons for their concerns. Yeah.
And that's been an ongoing thing for the last week. I was ousted. I was chased out of a Doctor Who Facebook group 4 years ago for daring to form an opinion after five episodes. Yeah. And I wasn't particularly rude or anything. I just said, I'm finding that I haven't clicked with the Doctor and da-da-da-da. And I was told to by several people in that chat to kill myself and to die of cancer. And that was one of them was the mod who ran the channel.
Yeah.
Blocked me from the group and then chased me into my DMs.
Wow.
To continue this kind of death wishing. And I just removed myself from all of it. And that's when I discovered your channel, Bowles Track.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad I was able to bring some sanity, my friend.
And that's where I started my journey.
If you think that's bad, you should see what the people on Gallifrey base think of me.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it's a cesspool. It's disgusting. Really.
I featured on that site now. I have as well.
It's a hive.
I've featured on Reddit as well. There's a couple of threads on Reddit talking about me and stuff like that. The stuff that they come up with is unbelievable. And this is all just because we have a different opinion to them, guys. We have to actually look at what it's really all about. Just because we don't like something and they're behaving like that.
Yeah, they can wish you dead, but if you dare criticize a female actor, then you're evil and you're bigger.
Well, no, unless you're a female actor on the wrong side, then you're one of us.
Yeah.
And so from Chris Persia, we have a very cute sticker. Oh,
yeah.
And then from Rosie G12 for $19.99 US. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Then thank you, everybody. This is awesome, and it doesn't matter whether you super chat or not. I'm just amazed that I've had anybody watching this stream. So thank you. but from I'll call it Rossi or Rosie G12. What's
Rosie, I think.
Rosie.
I call them Rossi.
No, Rosie. I'll go with Rosie G12 because there's a cute little puppy. Oh, sorry. No, love your channel, Bullstrek at Bullstrek. Well, thank you very much, my friend. And your puppy is absolutely adorable. And let's just refresh this because I think something else had come in. It's so slow. And from the keeper of Trocken for $1.99, fellow Canadian. Hello again, my friend. Thumbs up. So awesome. So I think we're going to leave it there because it's been fun. But Noel and Lee, plug yourselves. Oh, that sounds so
Lee, you can go first. Go ahead.
Well, you can find me on the twats at Being Problem. Follow me there. I've currently got Renfamous's beautiful blue hair with
if you want a nightmare,
ads,
yeah.
Which you can I mean, that's not going to stay that way for long because it's too disturbing even for me. And I have an alternative channel where I do post my CGI work. So if you're looking for channel stuff, music video stuff, adverts, whatever you want, I can do it. Prices are competitive. Just let me know what you want. Just contact me on Twitter or my YouTube channel, leave a comment, and that's at Aldred Audio Visual. That's AUDRED Aldred Audio Visual.
Awesome. And just to answer a question from Kellinch, I think is how you pronounce it. Speaking of puppies, how is Lexi? We're doing okay. It's one day at a time. She's 13 now. So we've got some medical issues, but she's still happy, so that's what counts. But
bless her.
Yeah,
she's hanging out here next to me right now. So finally, what's your name?
I can't believe you forgot.
No,
that's it. You've forgotten me name. Right.
Some
anyway.
guy.
So okay, so some guy. We don't know who this is. He just kind of showed up on the chat.
Yeah, I just
so mystery person,
Hiddleston or something.
Mystery person, plug yourself.
Yeah, no problem. I'm Noel from the TARDIS Zone. We do Doctor Who watch-alongs. We do movie watch-alongs now. We're doing Sliders. And we have a brand new show on Friday nights called Contact from 7 to 10 p.m. UK time. And it's just a fun stream. We just talk
Fridays.
about whatever. As for Friday's one was actually very funny. We had a couple of trollers as well, but it was all
the same
funny.
Roblox trolls that were here today. So
yeah,
you know,
same trolls.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely fantastic. We had some great guests. So if you're interested actually in coming on, head over to the TARDIS Zone, subscribe. I'm on Twitter as well. Check me out there, Noel Zone or the TARDIS Zone or whatever it is. I forget now because my mind's gone blank. This is like my 14th live stream this week. So I'm running out of steam now. But yeah, I'm on tomorrow. I will be doing New Who, Curse of the Black Spot. We're doing Matt Smith's season 6, which is a favorite season of Balstrex. I'm only messing. Yeah, we're doing season 6. Season 6 of Doctor Who, Matt Smith. We're doing his second season, season 6, the one that's an abomination.
I like individual episodes from that season. I just think the arc is a fucking mess.
Yeah, it is. It is. So it's a bit of a shit show. So if you want to come on, watch us, we're doing watch-alongs of that, and then we give our opinions. Lee does be on the panels as well. And there was a couple of other people in the chat as well that will be on the panel. So yeah, that's the TARDIS Zone official. So I'm done. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, well then on that's going to be the end of our stream for today. 2 hours and 42 minutes. So awesome, and I would like to thank everybody who actually showed up. Like I said, I've been gone for so long. I would have been amazed if I had 10 people watching.
And we had obviously Critical Drinker who joined us.
And my good friend Critical Drinker was here as well. So we had it was a fun party time. So thank you, everyone. We will do this again at some point. I can't even remember my sign off anymore because. And
Hold on,
that's
just
it.
to answer Vanessa's question, the reason why I'm doing season 6 is because we're doing Matt Smith's era. So even if I don't like an area, as Balstrek said, there are some individual episodes that I do like myself. So that's why I'm watching it. So yeah, if you want to come and join us for that in the chat, you're more than welcome. Go ahead. Sorry, Balstrek.
Oh, no worries. So so the sign off. So when somebody and that's it for today. I do things and stuff. Come follow me on various things. Twitter is a cesspit of misery, but join me there if you want. Have a great day, and
he's forgotten his tagline, folks. He's forgotten his tagline. He hasn't been.
And thanks everyone, and that's it for today. As always, thank you for watching, and have a great day. And Doctor Who is still shit.
And he's right about that one.